I've played many Stardew Valley mods on my channel, but I've never quite played one like the Stardew Valley Druid mod. With brand new characters, magical powers, a dragon, and over 50 challenges to complete, it is truly a behemoth of a mod. In this video, I will be showing you my journey to achieving 100% completion in the Stardew Valley Druid mod. I'm using a few other mods alongside it, and you can find those down in the description. That just about covers everything I wanted to say. Yeah, I wanted to keep this intro short and sweet because the actual video is like 3 hours long. So, without any further ado, let's get started. Really quickly as day 1 begins, I want to mention that I am using the Legacy Cave mod from the Sunbury Village playthrough I did. However, in the spirit of making things a bit more balanced, I've also added the Legacy Community Center mod. I'll speak more about it when the Community Center actually opens up. What I can say for now is that it should make the Community Center a lot more difficult. Anyway, I open up the new journal included with the Druid mod. It tells me that there is an area behind the farm that was once home to a circle of druids. Let's investigate it, shall we? As soon as I enter the cave, I encounter the first new character, the Effigy. He refers to me as the successor. Apparently, the last time he went out past this cave was when my grandfather had moved on, so it's been a while. They tell me that long ago, the farmers in this valley were aligned with the other world. I have no idea what the other world is. I hope we find out soon. They formed the Circle of Druids. I go through the entranceway and I find myself inside this area. It has a very powerful nature vibe to it. The effigy tells me to interact with the stones to the left. Apparently the druids had a very strong connection with them. Or maybe they still do. I wonder if the druids are still a thing actually. I interact with the stones and they talk to me. I tell them that I want to reform the Circle of Druids. Okay, so I don't think they're a thing right now, and maybe they weren't a thing for a while. I receive the Forest Sword after explaining how I want to care for and protect the valley. According to the effigy, I am now a squire of the two kings. The energy of the Weald, I am assuming that refers to the stones, have blessed me. The effigy gives me a quest. I can use the Forest Sword I was given to destroy weeds and other stuff. I'm not really sure what else, but I will find out very soon, I'm sure. I can also brew potions according to a page in the journal. I'll have to check that out at some point too. Those could be very useful. I cannot even begin to describe just how euphoric it feels clearing out all of the weeds and stone and wood from the farm this quickly. I love this mod already. Secondly, I'm getting a lot of spring seeds while using the Weald power to destroy everything. I might end up making this a foraging playthrough if it's this easy to get summer, spring, fall, winter seeds. For the most part, anyway. I'll still grow crops for the community center. I won't limit myself exclusively to forage items basically, but I will make them a main priority. We may have a bit of an issue. I'm enjoying the Weald power and the effect it has on, the rocks and weeds and all that kind of stuff so much that it's going to be difficult for me to stop doing it. I enter the cave and open up a chest to obtain the Neptune's Glaive. I was wondering if I could talk to the stone in order to enchant this weapon, but I cannot. I interact with a bench-looking thingy and I receive a mortar and pestle. I can now make potions. I go into the water in the cave in order to replenish my energy. Then I collect a few forage items on the second floor of the cave before heading up to the third floor. There are a lot of rocks and copper ore nodes here. Unfortunately, I can't use the Weald power to blow up every single rock though, only the muscle nodes. I plant all of the seeds I have, replenish my energy again, and spend the night skedaddling all around the farm. This is incredible. I really wish I had the words to explain how satisfying this feels. I plant even more seeds and water all of them. Lewis has sent me a letter on day 2. He lets me know that I can use the mailbox to send items to the villagers. Ah yes, that is the mail services mod. It isn't related to the Druid mod at all, I just like using it. It's in the same category as the Automate mod for me. That category being, I could play the game without these mods, but I would have a breakdown by the end of day 10 if I did. So, in a way, they're like a necessity for me. I speak with the effigy to receive my second quest. He tells me to call out to the trees, the bushes and the grass, and in turn they might give me something. I've taken a look at the journal and it seems to me like I can now throw bombs. This should be fun.
Here is the potions page. I can make 6 different unique potions right now. They all give me different amounts of health and energy. And there's another page called the goods inventory, and then a satchel, and let's take it slow. This might get overwhelming if I try to learn about everything all at once. I use sap and slime to make the Ligna potion. It only gives me 12 energy, but that's a good amount for day 2, I think. I make the celery potion, and then I disable the auto-consume feature on both of them. I assume that means I won't drink them as soon as I make them, which is good. I would rather hold on to every potion I make until I actually need to use them. I use the wheeled power near a bush and it drops a salmon berry. Interesting, okay. I walk around the farm using the power over and over again, interacting with trees, grass and bushes. Different animals are emerging and dropping items which aren't being added to my inventory. So I reckon they're being added to a different page in the journal maybe, like the satchel or the goods inventory. I'm liking that touch of animals and like spirits maybe, is that what they are? Emerging from the water and the grass and the trees. I collect forage items inside the cave and break all of the rocks before replenishing my energy. Just like the previous few playthroughs, I've decided to use the Help Wanted mod. This one is pretty simple. It adds more jobs to the bounty board every single day. This mod isn't one of those that I consider to be like necessary for me not to have a breakdown. What it does do is it adds more variety and more things to do on a daily basis. Basically, it keeps me busy when I have nothing else to work on. I introduce myself to the villagers in the shop, then I do the same thing with the trash cans. I crack open 3 geodes and an omni geode before donating all of the items I have to the museum. I receive 250 gold for doing so. I talk to William at the beach and I receive it's what I like to call the first meta item. The fishing rod. I think I'm going to be doing a lot of fishing during this playthrough, as always with every... Oh wait, hold on. I use the wheeled power and a bunch of birds fly over the beach and drop fish. Okay, that changes my plan, alright. I might not need the fish after all, depending on what other fish I can get from them. I repair the broken bridge at the beach, unlocking the tide pool area. I don't think there's anything new over here though. I was hoping the birds would drop more fish, but they didn't, so... That's a bit disappointing. I plant more seeds and I water everything. I hit level 1 in fishing today somehow. I didn't do any fishing. Wait, did the fish I get from the birds give me XP? Nice, okay, that could be a nice and handy way to level up. It is raining on day 3, so according to basically every video about Stardew Valley ever made, I should spend the day fishing so I can get catfish. That being said, the Druid mod has taken traditional ways of playing Stardew Valley and completely turned them on their heads. I used the wheeled power to get stone, wood, salmonberries, seeds, all types of goodies. I then speak with the effigy. Farmers and druids share many of the same ideals according to them. I can harness the energy of the druids to do something to my crops. Am I about to make my crops grow instantly? That would be amazing. Though I feel like it might be too powerful, especially this early on, so maybe not, we'll see. I activate my power and it does something to the crops. They haven't grown fully, but they've definitely grown at least a little bit. Like they've advanced 2 or 3 days in the growth period. Wait, oh, I've just spotted something. I planted spring seeds, but none of the crops here look like spring forage after I used my power. And there are definitely more parsnips growing here now, that's for sure. I didn't buy any more seeds for them, I just planted the 15 I started off with. This is going to get very interesting. I really am curious as to what's going on here. After sending my pickaxe to Clinton so he can upgrade it, I accept a few jobs. I can't do most of them, but I'll try to get a couple of prize tickets before this week comes to an end. I summon the high-flying birds at the beach, and sure enough, they give me more fish. I do something I have been very excited to do since day 1. I run around the entire forest, destroying all of the weeds I come across. One thing I can say with certainty is I will never ever run out of stone, wood or fiber. All 3 of those items are so very easy to get my hands on now. I continue frolicking through the valley, collecting forage and using the wheeled power. I've also made the realization that the audio mixing is going to be a nightmare for this video. I might have to mute the gameplay because of how loud it gets when I use the wheeled power. I'll see what I can do. I would really like to keep the gameplay audio in, but I don't know. Depending on how loud things get, I might have to mute it the entire time. Robin wanted me to get wood, not just once, but twice. I talked to her to complete both of those jobs. Then I resume my foraging escapades. I take a break to buy some coffee in the saloon. I'm doing a lot of walking around, so that speed boost would be amazing for me right now. I introduce myself to quite a few villagers while I'm inside here. That way I can get jobs from them at the bulletin board. Oh, and I forgot to mention, but I chose to have the monsters appear on the farm at nighttime. You can choose that option when you're creating your farm. I did it to offset the benefits of the Legacy Cave mod just a tiny bit. I plant more seeds before going to bed. Carrots have been harvested on day 4, 32 of them. Okay, I think that confirms that the spring seeds do not produce forage. They produce any crop that can be grown during spring. I'm kinda torn here, you know, on the one hand I love this, I really do love this. They're like a buffed version of mixed seeds. On the other hand, this means we can't grow spring forage, so one of the best ways to get foraging experience points has just gone out the window. This could be an issue in the future, but we should be fine, there's other ways to get experience. I speak with the effigy to receive today's quest. I must use my power to convince the wild to sprout new shoots and buds. Again, I have no idea what that means, so let's not waste any time in finding out. Ooh, okay, I can make forage, stone, weeds, and wood pop up from the ground. Alright. I can combine that with the power to blow weeds up to get easy resources. I'm gonna do this for a while, excuse me for a few moments. A tulip has appeared. I wonder if any crop can spawn with this power, or maybe it's limited to just forage items and flowers? Either way, this is very neat, I love this. I accept a few more jobs, and at this point I'm gonna stop showing me accepting these jobs. What I will do is show me completing them and earning prize tickets, but in the essence of saving time, I'm gonna make that one small change. I sell a few bits and bobs to Pieri the platypus and I buy the first backpack upgrade. I trade a ticket for carrot seeds and participate in my usual shenanigans at the beach. Carrots are an amazing source of energy in the early game. They give around the same amount of energy as a cauliflower, but they only take 3 days to grow, compared to the 12 days that cauliflower takes. Mussels appear when I use my power at the beach, and Joja Cola too for some reason. I think I can definitely say that this power results in the following things spawning: weeds, wood, stone, spring and beach forage items, flowers, and trash. The beach forage items I get by doing this, and also the fish I get from the birds, are not added to the fishing collection. I still have to catch the fish and use crab pots to get the forage items for them to count towards the fishing collection. I turned auto consume on for all of the potions, but it doesn't seem to be doing anything. I thought it would consume the potions immediately because I'm a bit low on energy right now, but it didn't. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, I don't know. I've also discovered that I can click on items in my satchel for different bonuses. The Gleaming Shell produces the highest quality celery potion. The Fossilized Carol turns 5 sap into a random liquid. I also caught a glimpse of one that turns 3 stone into 3 omnigeodes. The Weathered Ivory it was. I have made a discovery over in the forest. When I don't have enough energy to use my power, that's when a potion is automatically consumed. That makes a lot of sense and is also very handy. I like that feature. If I can somehow make 100 of a potion, I would basically have unlimited energy for a few days. I did see a potion I can make using a parsnip, and it gives me 40 energy. I'm gonna plant like hundreds of parsnip seeds at some point and turn every single one of them into potions. It's going to be busted, but I don't really care if I'm being honest, I just want to be like really overpowered. I make more of the second tier of the Ligna potion. It will give me the alignment buff. I don't really know what that is, and I feel like I've said that multiple times now, but I'm excited to find out what that potion does and what the effect does. I plant Croppy Whoppies and use my power to speed up their growth. Ooh, good news, we have strawberries. That's going to be an easy way to get money or energy depending on what I do with them when they've grown. Something interesting happens when I water my crops. I get a critical hit with the watering can, and it waters like 10 different crops at the same time. Maybe the alignment effect did that? Or at least one of the potions has an effect that causes that to happen. Marnie is here on day 5, I think we all know the drill. I adopt a cat and I call her Muffin. Clinton has sent me the copper pickaxe, thank you, you questionable specimen. I harvest garlic of all things. Normally you can only get garlic from the travelling cart during the first year, so this was unexpected. I take all 60 parsnips and turn them into potions. 40 energy by 60 potions. That is a total of 2,400 energy, I believe. Beautiful. The effigy decides to begin the conversation mid-sentence for some reason. They formally introduced the whole throwing bombs thing to me. Yeah, I already read about that in the journal, but at the same time, I guess this makes it canon, in a way. They then tell me that I can use the power of the wield to strike enemies in battle. From what I'm reading, I can just use the wield effect as normal, and it will give me a chance to charge up my weapon. I think, maybe, I have no idea how any of this works. I can also create a rockfall event which can be used to destroy rocks, I'm guessing? I interact with one of the stones and it brings up the powder box menu. I mentioned this early on, but I'm trying to be conscious of how much I'm taking in and learning about. Like I said, I don't want to do too much and get overwhelmed. I'm taking it slow and steady. Mayor Lewis is outside the community centre and he is not having a jolly good time. The community centre has been abandoned, he isn't happy about it, it's the same story as always, really. I read the golden scroll in the community centre, complete a job for Robin, and enter the mines. So when I said I can use the rockfall to destroy rocks, I was wrong. What I can do, however, is I can use it to defeat monsters. Which, I mean, yeah, that's good enough for me, I'll take that. In news that I'm sure is not surprising, the mines have become significantly easier. The rockfall takes care of monsters, and I can make weeds grow and then destroy them, which causes a sort of mini explosion. That explosion then destroys the rocks around the weeds. Finding a ladder on every floor just went from time consuming to outright therapeutic. That being said, I didn't make much progress in the mines today. I got too invested in making things grow and then destroying it so I could get gems and other goodies. I dilly-dallied a lot. And so I only make it down to floor 15 by the time the day comes to an end. That was a ton of fun though, and I got a solid amount of emeralds, topaz, amethyst, so many valuable items. I hit level 3 in farming and level 5 in mining. More parsnips have been harvested on day 6. You already know these are going to be turned into potions. I'm also heavily debating on installing the Legacy Cave mod. The main reason I use it is because I don't really enjoy the early game as much as I once did. Mainly, well, entirely because of the whole energy thing. So having a way to regenerate my energy before unlocking the bathhouse in summer is... well, the best way to put it is it warms my delicate soul. It truly does. That being said, the Druid mod has an entire potion system that revolves around energy, health, and, different buffs. So there's not really much point in having the cave mod installed. We'll see what happens with it, but I don't think I'm gonna keep it in the game. The effigy has a quest for me, or challenge, or job, or whatever you want to refer to it as. Something foul is living in the waters of the mines and I have to vanquish it. They give me the magical teapot, which I can use on floor 20 of the mines to go further with this quest. Before I do so, I must water my crops. A task which once filled me with misery now makes me feel at one with myself. I talk to the wizard who teaches me the language of magical creatures called Junimos. I can now begin donating items to the community center. Hang on, oh no. The Legacy Community Center mod isn't working. Alright, one moment please, I'm gonna try to fix this. I took a look at my mods folder and there was a mod inside there that kinda has an effect on the community center that I used for the Sunbury Village playthrough. That mod does not work well alongside the Legacy Community Center mod, so it had to go. We should be able to get the Legacy Community Center mod working now, so I think we're good. I do everything all over again. I'm still on day 6 by the way, I just want to clarify that real quick. Okay, it's still not working. I'm taking this as a sign from the universe that I should uninstall the Community Center mod and more importantly the Legacy Cave mod. I hear what you're saying, universe. The Legacy Cave mod is not needed for this playthrough. I hear you loud and clear. I complete the spring foraging bundle and receive 30 spring seeds. I also take the summer forage items I found in the cave and I throw them into the trash. I'll do the same with any other items I found inside that cave, including the Neptune's glaive. It doesn't feel right holding on to these items now that I've uninstalled the Legacy Cave mod. I kinda make a beeline for floor 20, though a tremendous amount of lollygagging and dilly-dallying did take place. I may have done the whole make items appear using my power and then destroy them all many times. Eventually I get down to floor 20 where I use the teapot. In what I can only describe as typical, I was standing in the one spot which would result in me becoming trapped upon using the teapot. I literally can't do anything, like I'm legitimately stuck here. I'm not even annoyed, this is funny more than anything else. Well, I guess that's it for day 6, I'll see you tomorrow. I harvest carrots and potatoes on day 7 before planting what I hope will become strawberries. In the satchel menu, I click on the rare bloom to turn it into 3 omen crates. This brings me to the goods menu. I don't know how to sell the crates I made, and I'm not going to try to find out. Like I said, slow and steady. I donate a few items to the fishing bundles and the crop bundles. I made a mistake here, and kind of a big one. I accidentally took one of the gold star parsnips and donated that to the regular quality parsnip spot. So I wasted a gold star parsnip is what I'm saying. I have to wait until another gold star parsnip is ready to donate 5 of those. A cave carrot, stone and wood have been donated too. I grabbed 30 spring seeds, I forgot to grab those when I completed the spring foraging bundle, and I skedaddle to floor 20 of the mines. I enter the sacred spring and am immediately attacked by a bat. It tosses trash at me, how rude, while other bats come after me. I get a glow ring, lovely, and a magnet ring, jubbly. I fend off the bats and emerge victorious. I've been given 300 friendship points with the villagers who live in the mountains. And I receive the Tactical Discombobulator. The Tactical Discombobulator is what I call it when I ramble for like 5 minutes about a random topic in my videos. I talk to the shrine attendant. I ask what I can do to help them take care of this place. They tell me to grow the lilies. Right. Okay, now how about you give me an answer that actually makes sense, please? They also want me to use the wield power to draw bats out of hiding and find relics. After using the trash I got to make potions, I returned to the mines. I wish I could say I used my powers to the fullest extent of their capabilities to get all the way down to floor 50, or even floor 60, but I can't, because I didn't. I'm having dangerous levels of fun with these powers. It is both a gift and a curse for True City. I did make a few staircases while I was on the dark floors and used them to get down to floor 40, so that right there is a victory in my mind. Day 8 begins with the planting of over 50 wonderful, potentially divine croppy whoppies. To say I am excited about the thought of harvesting them would be an understatement. For I am not just excited, I am very excited. I take a moment to say goodbye to the Legacy Cave. You served me well for the first 5 days of this playthrough. Thank you. The effigy has given me some rather good news. My battle in the Sacred Spring has pleased the lady beyond the shore. They believe it is time for me to meet her. They give me a relic which I can activate over in the tide pool area in order to reach her humble abode. I buy 2 of each crop and flower seed, just because, along with 58 parsnips. It turns out I don't even have to use the relic to reach the lady beyond the shore. There was a boat here that I didn't recognize from vanilla Stardew Valley. I walked into it and, well, here I am. I explain how I want to keep the valley safe and all of the challenges that I've been given by the effigy. She bestows her blessing upon me and gives me the Neptune's glaive. Of all the weapons she could have given me, it's ironic in a beautiful way that this is the one I received. It's almost as if the universe is saying, hey, look, I know that was hard. You know, uninstalling the Legacy Cave mod, I know it was difficult. So take this. That way, a piece of the cave will always be with you. It really does bring a tear to my eye. And that says a lot, considering I've had my contact lenses in for the last 18 hours, so they are unimaginably dry right now. I have learned a new power. The right of... I can't say it. M-I-S... Oh, I can't even spell it properly. M-I-S-T-S. I really don't want to have to say it for the rest of this playthrough. I have a lisp, alright? I can't say it properly. It's too difficult for me to say that word and so many others. I'm gonna call it the Neptune power. Yeah, I like that. There's no S or H. I feel oddly safe right now knowing that I don't have to say that M-I-S-T-S word anymore. Oh, I'm getting emotional. I might need a moment. Excuse me. It takes a while, but I finally managed to figure out how to use the Neptune power. I no longer have to upgrade my axe. I can use the power to break stumps and logs. I destroy a metric ton of logs before talking to the effigy. I notify them that I have met the lady beyond the shore. I can interact with this stone here to add the wield power to a tool. I decide to add the power to my hoe. I use my power on the crops, water them, and open the satchel. I trade the Seed of Doubt for 3 random seeds. I get cauliflower and carrots. Not bad. I donate hardwood, a copper bar, quartz, and an earth crystal to the community center before resuming my adventures in the mines. I operate with a bit more hustle and bustle this time. I make it down to floor 59 before passing out. The crop fairy visits the farm during the night and sprinkles her magic on the strawberries. The effigy gives me a pan on day 9. I can now make even better potions. They also tell me that I can use the Neptune power on different machinery and items, like warp statues, scarecrows, and lightning rods. Here is a look at the potions page. I'm gonna aim to make hundreds of the new Ligna potion during summer. It gives me 80 energy and I want that. I make a few scarecrows, place them on the farm, and use the Neptune power on them. Oh, hello. It waters my crops for me. I make another scarecrow so I can cover most of the crops. I'm still going to make quality sprinklers in the future, but believe me when I say that many more scarecrows shall be made before then. Once again, I spend the remainder of the day in the mines. I work as hard as I can and end up reaching floor 80 at around 3 PM. I push forward and reach floor 91 just before 7 PM. I wanted to have enough time to make a gold bar because I've got everything else I need for the boiler room in the community center. So I return to the farm where I water the crops that aren't being covered by scarecrows, and I use the Neptune's power on the warp statue here. It's where you spawn after using a farm warp totem, and I receive a farm warp totem for doing so. I imagine, based on this, I could use the Neptune power to get warp totems at the beach, up in the mountains, in the desert, and on Ginger Island. My axe is now capable of taking down trees in one single hit. It isn't guaranteed, but there's at least a chance of it happening because of the buff from a potion I made. I plant seedy weedies, I'm sorry, that one was too far. Croppy whoppies, that's fine. Seedy weedies does not work, I realize that now. And I donate everything to the boiler room. Starting from tomorrow, I will be able to use the minecart. I also donate a cauliflower and a red mushroom. I harvest potatoes, strawberries, and parsnips crazy style on day 10. Then it's back to the mines. I very quickly reach floor 100 where I obtain my first star drop. I make it past floor 110, then I finally reach floor 120. I return to the farm with plenty of time to water my croppy whoppies. The effigy has given me another challenge, or lesson number 8 as the journal refers to it as. I can use the Neptune power to make fishing spots appear. I find an artifact while I'm fishing. It isn't for the museum, it's one of the ones that the lady beyond the shore wants me to find. I hook an actual fish and oh no, I am not dealing with that. Not today, you are a catfish, I recognize the movement. Catfish normally spawn in the river though, don't they? Not up here in the mountains. Then again, all of the rules of the Stardew Valley universe have been thrown out the window ever since day 1 with this mod. But yeah, no, I wasn't mentally prepared for this. I wasn't prepared for a catfish. I'm going home. See ya. I was watering my croppy whoppies on day 11 when I realized I am no longer bound by the constraints of a mere watering can. I use my powers to water the majority of the crops in no time at all. A few well-timed critical hits with the watering can results in the remaining crops being taken care of in a similar amount of time. The effigy has told me that I can use the Neptune's power to attack monsters. Finally, I've been waiting for this. I call upon the birds at the beach, then I annihilate the monsters. They didn't really stand a chance, and part of me felt bad for them. But I'm also having way too much fun to let that bother me, you know, the whole feeling bad for them thing. I get a bit carried away and spend way more time in here than I planned to. But I don't regret it because of how many goodies I got inside there. When I leave the mines, I make things grow and then I destroy them. I wish I had a better way of describing what I'm doing here, but that's pretty much the best way I can put it. I earn almost 7,000 gold from the gems I threw into the shipping bin. I receive my second prize ticket on the morning of day 12. I should unlock mystery boxes from tomorrow onwards. I need to make another scarecrow, that way I can cover the last big patch that isn't currently covered by them. Even then, it doesn't take any time at all for me to water all of my crops, so there's really no rush. The effigy wants to take a walk around the beach and would like for me to accompany them. The game recommends that I don't have anything planned for the majority of the day if I intend on doing this. So it's off to the beach where I use my Neptune power to get a beach warp totem. Then I pick up all of the fish that are dropped by the birds. I summon the effigy, who relaxes on the sand for a while before summoning herring from the water. It caught me off guard, but I'm not complaining as I was able to pick all of the herring up and keep them for myself. The effigy makes a fish stew and gives it to me. Thank you. They tell me that this was the first farmer's favorite food. When the effigy first came into this world, a battle between dragons and elder folk had just ended. The valley was not in good shape, so humans and other survivors banded together to rebuild the valley. The lady beyond the shore and the effigy's master built the first farm together. We enter the home of the lady beyond the shore. Again, the effigy just lies down and takes it easy for a while. Or at least, they tried to. Out of nowhere, a big jelly pumpkin monster thingy shows up and attacks us. The two seem to know each other. Old rivals, I assume? The battle begins and I start casting lightning at the pumpkin jelly. It eventually flies away, saying that we were too slow. Right, sure, that's totally the reason why you flew away. Not because I was about to liquidize you. No, of course not. Please bear with me while I try to pronounce this next word. Wisps. I'm gonna struggle a lot with that word. One of them says their family is sick and they need to go help them. The other wisp seems heartbroken to learn of their plan to leave. The wisp says goodbye farmer before fading away. According to the effigy, the farmer was never the same after this. The effigy was new to this world when they saw this happen. They didn't really know how to help their friend deal with the loss of the lady who just left. I reckon that might be the first farmer that the effigy mentioned. And the lady who left, maybe she is the lady beyond the shore? Maybe? The effigy has made two big choices. They won't stay inside the area behind my farm anymore. They're still going to be there, but they're also going to explore and even join me on adventures. And they are no longer my mentor. I am now their mentor. Okay. I use a warp totem to get back to the farm, then I use a warp totem to get back to the beach. I forgot I wanted to fish for the remainder of the day. I find another artifact that the lady beyond the shore wanted me to find. Then I catch an eel. Now that does spawn here at the beach during spring, so that much hasn't changed. But it also has to be raining, and it isn't. A puffer fish, nice. That means I don't have to wait until summer to get my hands on this one. And the squid, cool. Mystery boxes can now be found, nice, I had a feeling that was coming, and I can now make quality sprinklers. I make a few of them on day 13 and place them on the ground. Then I attend the egg festival. I buy 126 strawberry seeds and I introduce myself to all of the villagers that I haven't spoken with yet. The main event of the day, the egg hunt, takes place. I win the event and I receive a wonderful hat. I plant around 100 of the strawberries I bought before the night is over. I also make 15,000 gold. I really didn't want to throw all of those items into the shipping bin. I have a bit of difficulty doing that, but I need money, so it had to be done. I plant the remaining strawberries on day 14. I did put a sprinkler down in the wrong spot, so I have to manually water 3 of them from now on. Oops. The effigy has a lot of dialogue this morning, so I'm going to try to simplify it as best as I can. There is a place called the Old Graves, and it is full of monsters. The effigy ran into the captain of these monsters before, and it chased after them. They locked themselves away in this area right here as they didn't think they were strong enough to defeat the captain. Okay, that explains why the effigy has been inside here the whole time. Alright, that's a nice bit of lore. As the new leader, it is now my responsibility to defeat the captain. I donate a bunch of items to the museum and I grab starfruit, cauliflower, melon, and ancient seeds. I have Clinton crack open some geodes and bring more items to Gunther. I plant the ancient fruit and cauliflower and go fishing at the beach. I catch a super cucumber. This fish, the pufferfish, and squid, they all give a decent chunk of fishing experience, so I'm going to level up in fishing pretty quickly, I reckon. Before I enter the old graves, I summon the effigy. After what they told me this morning, it just wouldn't feel right to not bring them along with me for this battle. 2 people, I don't know who or what they are here. One walks away after telling the other to deal with the farmer. Excuse me, that's a bit rude. The remaining thing summons monsters. It wasn't a difficult fight. It was more time consuming than anything else. I didn't realize that another thing had joined the first thing. I'm sorry, I don't know what to call them. And right as we were about to win, they called their forces back and ran away. I guess technically that's a victory? Nice. I received the runestone of the Sacred Spring and 250 friendship points with everybody who lives in the town center. Neither the effigy or the enemy are saying anything. Oh, I was hoping to find out if that's the captain. I hope I find out soon. Day 15 begins in a foreboding way. The effigy warns me that I won't be able to overcome the Deep One with my current abilities. I'm told to visit the chapel in the mountains where I will find the last holy warrior of the Guardians of the Star. They will teach me how to combine the Wield and Neptune powers. I make potions to make sure I am fully prepared for what's about to come. Then I use the artifact I was given to reveal a door on floor 60 of the mines. I enter the chapel and, ooh, hello. I read a book and I find out I can trade a dwarf scroll or a squid ink for a random recipe or a random book. The other book inside here brings up the goods section of the journal. I still don't know what to do with these. I tell the Revenant, that is a cool name, that I want to learn the Way of the Stars. It doesn't take much to convince them that I am worthy. I tell them that I'm aware of the dangers and they basically say, yeah, alright, whatever, I'll teach you the Way of the Stars. Oh, by the way, you now have been cursed with something called Unlife. It's the same curse I have. Ta-ta. They give me the Holy Sword and I can now make even better potions. Whoa, 320 energy from one potion? Neat. The power of the stars doesn't just target monsters. I can use it to break stone. I can select which one I want to target and it will destroy that one and the surrounding stones too. Some of you more than likely saw this coming, but I spend almost the entire day inside the mines. I am having way too much fun with this new power. I collect ores, gems, seeds, a bunch of tasty items. The only reason I left the mines when I did was to turn in a job to the wizard. I earn over 20,000 gold from the items I put into the shipping bin. I donate a carp to the community center on day 16, along with a purple mushroom, 5 gold star parsnips, another purple mushroom, a red mushroom, and a winter root. I sell a few bits and pieces to go past the 42,500 gold mark, at which point I donate that exact amount of gold to the vault room bundles. The entire room has been completed, so the desert will be unlocked tomorrow. I trade a squid ink for the strange bun cooking recipe. Alright, that's not quite what I wanted, but I'll take it. I can only do this trade once a day as well, so I'll have to remember to come back here as often as I can. The Rite of Stars has been upgraded. I can create a gravity hole that will suck monsters closer to it. Off the top of my head, I think my strategy is going to be create the gravity hole, bring as many monsters as I can into the circle, and then use the regular Rite of Stars to drop a meteor on them. Hold the phone, I've just realized I have a lightning rod. I return to the farm, place it, and use the Neptune power on it. It's producing a battery pack, lovely jubbly. I plant coffee beans before talking to the effigy. They don't have a lesson for me. I feel like I'll get more from them in the future, though I don't think I'm done with them yet. The battery pack has been obtained and crops have been harvested on day 17. I'm really happy with the farm right now. It does not look good, I know, but I do have sprinklers to take care of the strawberries and the scarecrows are taking care of everything else. And on top of that, I can now get one battery pack every single day. I'm feeling really efficient right now. I used the bus to get to the desert. I used the Neptune power to get 2 desert warp totems. I ask the chef to make me a dish using rare fruit and hot sauce. I get a speed and luck bonus when I eat it. I've made it here just in time for the final day of the desert festival, so I waste no time in accepting a challenge from Marilyn and entering the Skull Caverinos. I will receive 50 calico eggs if I can reach floor 30. To be honest, I'll be disappointed in myself if I don't get to floor 30, considering all of the powers I have. I won't ramble for too long about the time I spent inside here. I interact with the statues to increase my egg rating, and I use the Rite of Stars power to quickly defeat any monsters I come across, while destroying rocks at the same time. Ladders and shafts are very easy to find because of this. I spend almost the entire day inside here. I get ores, gems, a prismatic shard, artifacts. I was truly having the time of my life. I decide to leave the mines after reaching floor 100. I speak with Ghoul to receive 200 calico eggs as I had an egg rating of 33. I use my eggs to get 3 lucky lunches and 79 strawberries. I toss my ores into the furnaces on day 18 before grabbing another battery pack. I won't mention this anymore, but believe me when I say I'm going to be getting 1 battery pack every single day. I've also realized it hasn't rained in a long time. I might be wrong, but I'm fairly confident that was the first and only rainy day I've gotten so far. It isn't really a big deal, though I do need to catch a shad for the community center. So, fingers crossed it rains during the next 10 days. I make more potions. I never want to run out of them. That would be a dire situation. It's been a while since I've said the word dire, so just in case, if you don't know what a dire situation is, it's a bit like a normal situation, but it's dire. I trade a dwarf scroll for the Queen of Sauce cookbook. I'm shocked. I didn't think I would get it this quickly. I mean, I'll take it. I will absolutely take it. Thank you very much, but I did not see that coming. The Revenant tells me that he knows where one of the rune stones of the old circle might be. According to the Revenant, I'm collecting all of them. I never said that. I don't know. Where did you get that from, dude? That being said, if there are trinkets and doohickeys to be found, then I shall find them. So, yeah, I guess the Revenant was right, actually. I take it back, sorry. An acquaintance went to challenge a monster deep within the mountains. They had a runestone with them and they never returned. If I defeat that monster, I will more than likely find the runestone. Let's do this. I use a magic thingy to reveal a staircase on floor 100. I enter and a battle begins. I was not expecting to fight a dragon in this mod, but the last thing I'm going to do is run away from this fight. I use the magical abilities of my sword to make quick work of the dragon. I receive a prize ticket, the runestone, the lava katana, 5 gold bars, and a prismatic shard. I gotta say, I am very pleasantly surprised by the quality of the rewards in this mod. It makes everything feel worth doing. Granted, everything is already worth doing because it's fun, but this is a lovely bonus. I grab 2 desert warp totems, do a bit of foraging, and trade a prismatic shard for the galaxy sword. The remainder of the day is spent in the Skull Caverns. There really isn't much to be said about my time inside here. I defeat monsters, steamroll through the floors, and collect some delicious items. I pass out on floor 68. Mr. Key has sent me a letter on day 19. If I reach floor 25 in the caverns, he will send me 10,000 gold. I shall be receiving that money tomorrow because I've already completed that challenge. I was chopping down trees when I had a thought. I use my power to summon meteors and they break the trees. Lovely. I might have to put this in my top 3 expansion mods. I think it's up there with Sunbury Village and Stardew Valley Expanded. This mod is fantastic. I can't get enough of it. The effigy talks about the wisps. At the beach, they seem concerned and unsettled. The effigy seems to believe that this is because monsters are haunting the shores of the valley. They tell me to deal with it, basically. I sell cauliflower and strawberries, buy the 2nd backpack upgrade, and buy 395 parsnips. I sell iridium bars and prismatic shards to Clinton and ask him to upgrade my pickaxe. I ask Robin to build a coop for me, make more scarecrows, and use them to cover even more of the farm. I'm planting all of my parsnips and I would rather not have to water them all myself. That would not be a jolly good time for me. Mr. Key has sent me the 10,000 gold on day 20. I harvest crappie whoppies and use the scarecrows to water everything. The pumpkin jelly thing is inside the forest, or near the forest anyway. I used the Rite of Stars power while in the forest to get to this area. And in what has become a bit of a trend, the pumpkin jelly thing appears and the battle begins. The Galaxy Sword makes quick work of the pumpkin, and it doesn't take much time to clean up the remaining enemies. I brought the effigy with me, of course. I receive a runestone and 300 friendship points with the villagers who live in the forest. The effigy is over the moon with how the battle went. A splendid end to a long-standing feud is how they put it. They explain how for a long time farmers in the valley would wake up to find their pumpkins destroyed, burnt, stepped on, or smashed. Now you might think the pumpkin jelly thing was responsible for this, but no, it was the effigy. That was a curveball. It was one of those unintentionally funny moments. Long story short, one of their sources of anger has been dealt with. I use my powers over on the beach to summon the wisps. Once again, the battle begins. This was the most difficult one by far, though that being said, I think all of the encounters have been fairly well balanced. As long as you make potions, you'll be fine, basically. I defeat them, we defeat them, and I obtain another runestone. The effigy mentions how these phantoms? Really? Now you tell me? I could have said that, like, whoa. You could have saved me so much trouble by calling them that from the very beginning instead of WISPS. I forgive you, it's okay. The Phantoms, I don't know why I said that. The Phantoms have been refused entry to the afterlife by the Fates. I'm told to be wary of the Fae Court's involvement in the affairs of the valley. I don't know what that means, but that is spooky stuff right there. I interact with the other book in the chapel. I'm not 100% confident in what I'm about to say, but I think I can now sell items in the goods section of the journal, though I don't know how. I go to the area on floor 20. The journal told me there's an offerings bench inside here, but I can't find it. I can throw pieces of stone. I forgot about the whole throwing bombs thing. I don't want to throw bombs on my farm, so I'm throwing stone instead. I did this to complete the quest to throw 10 bombs or 10 pieces of stone. I have received my pickaxe on day 21. I summoned the effigy because I discovered that they can do something really cool. They can also use the Neptune power on scarecrows to water my crops. In doing so, I found out that they have a quest for me. Well, it's more like they tell me to talk to something called a Molossus Gigantus. It is time to return to the chapel as the Revenant wants to speak with me. I harvest strawberries and parsnips and make almost 400 potions. These give me 40 energy, so that's 16,000 energy in total. Lovely. Jubbly. I sell my cranberries and buy 696 kale. I'm going to plant these for 2 reasons. They should sell for around 100,000 gold, which I can use to buy crops during summer, and I'm hoping they'll bump me up to level 10 in farming. I spend the remainder of the day planting kale and clearing out the farm. Day 22 begins with a quest from the Revenant. They tell me to meet with the Envoy of Fates near the bridge outside the mines. I find them and speak with them. They are a cat. Cool. They refer to me as the Starbringer. I like that a lot. They propose that we team up. They will teach me new abilities and I will help them with their quest. Unfortunately, I have to repair the bridge to the quarry if I want to go any further, which means I have to complete the foraging room in the community center, which I can't do until winter. I feel like I'll get jobs from the other people in the Druid mod in the meantime, so there should be plenty to do regardless, I'm sure. I sell iridium bars to Clinton and buy the iridium fishing rod from William. I give my rod the wield power and tell the stones that I've collected all of the rune stones. They laugh and tell me that the rune stones are useless to me. The good news is I can use the rune stones to decorate the crafts room in the community center, aka the foraging room. Alright, that sounds cool enough. I get to give the place a bit of a makeover. Maybe a new wallpaper, flooring, decorations, that type of thing. I spend the day fishing at the beach. Day 23 is also spent fishing. I begin up in the mountains. I have better equipment than before, so it's a lot easier to get catfish, tiger trout, and the usual fish that spawn up here. I move into the mines where I catch a ghost fish and find an artifact. I catch a stonefish and move down to floor 60. The ice pip has been caught. I spent over a minute trying to catch this one. I was convinced I was about to fail a couple of times, but thankfully I was victorious. I'm feeling confident, so I move down to floor 100. I catch the lava eel, and that is all of the fish that can be caught inside the mines. I teleport to the desert where I catch a sandfish. I'm trying to get all of the fish I can at this point. I would like to get the fishing collection completed before day 112, the end of the first year. I give up on trying to catch the scorpion carp. I'll come back and get it before spring is over though. I enter the secret woods and get the wood skip before finding another artifact at the river in town. I change the power on my iridium rod to the Neptune power. I made a bit of a blunder yesterday morning when I gave it the wheeled power. That is practically useless on this tool. I harvest almost 800 pieces of kale on day 24. The day gets even better when I attend the flower festival. I buy the tub of flowers crafting recipe, a rare crow, and 10 dandelions and daffodils. The crop fairy does her thing again, and I make almost 100,000 gold from the kale. I find an artifact while using the wheeled power on day 25. So there are two groups of artifacts. The first are the ones you get from fishing, and the second you get by using the wheeled power while walking around. I wish there was a way for me to see what I have and what I still need. There more than likely is a way to see those things, I just haven't found out how yet. I ask Marnie to add 4 chickens to the coop before wandering around the valley. I'm trying to find the wheeled artifacts, but I'm not having much luck. I interact with the foraging room in the community center so I can use the rune stones to decorate it. That isn't what happened. What actually happened is the foraging room is now done. I don't have to donate anything anymore. I can honestly say this was the last thing I expected to happen. The bridge to the quarry will be repaired tonight, which means I can do the cat's quest from tomorrow onwards. I don't have to wait until winter. I'm shocked right now. I genuinely did not see this coming. I spend the remainder of the day fishing at the beach. I make a beeline for the quarry on day 26. I clear the area out using the meteor shower. Then I enter the mines and summon the cat. It is dungeon time according to them. We race to the end of the tunnel while being followed by monsters. This was a tense moment, a very tense moment, but I persevered and made it to the end. I grab the golden scythe and I uncover a hidden staircase. The cat is relieved that we didn't run into Thanatoshi. Can you please tell me who or what that is? There are cat monuments here that were built by the first farmers of the valley. They have been arranged like the court of the fates. The artisans, the priesthood, the morticians, and chaos. Thanatoshi, am I saying that right? Thanatoshi represented the morticians. This is the final place they would have been seen. I tell the cat that if I find Thanatoshi, I will hold them accountable for all of the souls they have cursed. The cat feels uncomfortable inside here, so we leave. I head north in this area and I find this area. I wish I could describe that better. I find a door that I can't open yet. Perhaps only the circle of druids know how to open it. I'm being given a lot of information about the druids, the lady beyond the shore, the first farmer, everything to do with the story of this mod. It was a bit overwhelming at the beginning, but I have a decent understanding of everything now. And I hope I've been able to explain the dialogue and the general story of what's happening well enough for you to follow. This is easily the most difficult script I've ever written for a video, but I think it's going well. I hope it is anyway. After catching a sunfish, I turn my attention to the scorpion carp. It takes a while, but I finally catch it. I donate a bunch of fish to the center, along with a chub, a frozen geode, an aquamarine, and a sea urchin. A green bean has been donated to finish off the spring crops bundle. The cat is having a hard time interacting with the monsters in the valley on day 27, and I have been given a new lesson. I can now activate something called a fate in order to put a curse on a monster. I head into the mines and I use it on a shadow person. They are either very confused or they can't do any damage, or both. I'm gonna go ahead and do this to 20 monsters in total to complete the lesson that the cat gave me. I maneuver my way to floor 15 as the monsters here are a lot easier to deal with. I complete the lesson before 10 AM. I apply the wheeled power to my galaxy sword, which could end up being a monumental mistake. If I can't figure out how to put the meteor shower power on it again, that won't be good. I need that power. The Revenant gives me the Monster Tamer badge. I can make a specific item, and when I use it, the bombs that I throw will have a chance to catch a monster when they defeat it. I trade a squid ink for the parsnip soup cooking recipe before going into the hidden area on floor 20. I still haven't figured out how to unlock the distillery. If I can figure out what they mean when they say to gather the lilies, then maybe that will unlock it. Here is a look at the items I can make that will allow me to catch monsters. I make 6 of the copper bar one, then I upgrade it to iron bar, then I convert those to the gold bar level. I use the vile spike in my satchel to turn 5 cherry bombs into 5 mega bombs before asking Robin to build a barn on the farm. Following that, I enter the mines where I use a mega bomb to defeat a bat and add it to my monster collection. It took me a couple of minutes, but I eventually found the page that shows the monsters I have. And there's more. I also found the page that shows me what artifacts I have, but more importantly, what ones I don't have. And it gives me a hint on where to find them. I need 2 more from fishing and 2 more from using the wield power. I summon a bat, and this is a lot more detailed than I thought it would be. I can level the bat up by having it battle other monsters. It takes a long time for the bat to defeat even one enemy. I get my hands on a slime and I summon it too. Again, it doesn't do a lot of damage. I'm gonna do a bit of brainstorming and see if I can think of a way to level them up faster. In the meantime, I use the wield power in the cave to get an artifact, and one more time to the left of the bus stop. I get the final wield artifact by doing this. I go fishing and obtain the second last Neptune artifact. And that is all for today. The cat has a new challenge for me on day 28. I can use the fate power to make other people happy, or to annoy them. My quest is to use this power on 5 different people. I've also been given the Eye of Warble, which I can use to teleport to map entrances. I go fishing in the area the lady beyond the shore lives and get the final Neptune artifact. I tell her I found all of the artifacts. She tells me they are useless to me, which I'm assuming means I can use them to complete the fishing room in the community center. I catch a shad before going over there. I interact with the fish tank and yep, I now only have the crops room and the bulletin board left to do. 4 out of 6 rooms have been completed. I give the other set of artifacts to the shrine attendant on floor 20 of the mines. They tell me they need a big flame to purify the artifacts. I feel like I've seen a fire mentioned somewhere during the last few days. I forget where it happened, but I know I've been where this quest wants me to go. My current lesson is to use the power of the fate to make a projectile and then teleport along its path. I wasn't able to do it properly. I'll have to come back to this one. I use my power to make Pamela spin around in the air. She was not amused. I do the same thing with Caroline, Abigail and Pierre the platypus, and they react in a more positive manner. Finally, I do it to Gustavo in order to finish off the lesson. Nothing happened when I did it to him, but he did say bravo, so that is a victory in my mind. I harvest strawberries and catch a serpent in the mines. I had high hopes for this monster, but similar to the previous 2 monsters, it takes a long time for it to defeat an enemy. So long, in fact, that I got knocked out while waiting for it to happen. I spend the remainder of the day on the lower floors in the mines. I'll have the serpent battle the enemies here, as it does a much better job at dealing with these ones. Day 29 begins in a quite frankly beautiful way as I find out how to give the meteor shower power to my galaxy sword. I interact with the table that gave it the power and it teleports me back to my farm. I enter the room I found the big red dragon in. I was hoping it would spawn again so I could maybe catch it, like I did with the serpent that's following me. But it isn't here, so I can't really do that. To the north of where the effigy is, there's this big flame thingy. This right here is what I was talking about when I said I felt like I had come across a big fire before. I'm not able to light it up right now, so I don't think this is what I need to purify the artifacts for the shrine attendant. You know, the thing on floor 20 of the mines. The cat wants me to meet them after 12 PM in town. It will take a few hours, so I need to make sure I get everything else done before I go there. I spend all of my money on starfruit seeds and spend a bit of time in the Skull Caverns. The monster eradication goals should be no problem at all because of, because of everything, really. I meet the cat in town where they recognize Marlin. It appears Marlin knows all about the Circle of Druids. This isn't too much of a surprise, it makes sense for him to be aware of everything. He gives the cat an artifact or something, and he gives me the guild crest. I can now complete orders for the guilds in the valley. Marlin leaves and the cat says they feel sorry for him. They go on to explain how when they first came to the valley, they started at the last known position of Thanatoshi, before the Fallen One defeated him, that is. That made the cat very sad. Marlin took them into his home, gave them a place to sleep, and told them all about the tunnel in the quarry that we explored recently. When Marlin was talking just now, the cat had a vision. Marlin will spend his life battling the shadows of the valley, but at some point, he's going to be defeated by a warrior and move on, so to speak. The cat adds that the vision may not come true, but to me that kinda sounds like the cat is trying to make me feel better about what will happen to Marlin. A fox appears and the cat seems to recognize her. The fox, Buffin is her name, challenges the cat to a race, and off they go towards the museum. I really wanted to tell the cat that they won, but I wanted to be honest at the same time. So I do exactly that and I say that Buffin won the race. Buffin creates a magical stairway. The cat places the artifact Marlin gave them down and it summons a dinosaur. The dinosaur is an envoy of the fates. They are also no match for the meteor shower power. After the battle, Buffin tells the cat that it's time to go home. The cat, however, refuses to leave, saying that the valley is their home now. Buffin gets frustrated and says that Fortumai made a mistake sending the cat here. I don't think that's how to pronounce it, but we'll go with that. The cat turns itself into a dinosaur and shoots flames at Buffin. The museum is, it's on fire. Thankfully, the flames don't do any damage, according to Buffin anyway. Buffin and the cat make up and have a productive conversation. The cat is determined to bring the Reaper to justice. That is why they are here. When Fortumai, a priestess, wanted someone to go after the Reaper, the cat volunteered, but they volunteered as a joke. They loudly and proudly proclaimed that they would get the job done. They didn't mean it, of course, but they were sent off on the mission to find the Reaper anyway. Over on floor 20 of the mines, I have finally figured out how to unlock the distillery. I can use the wield power to restore beauty to this area. I can only do it once a day, so I'll have to come back here again tomorrow to keep working on it. That being said, I'm just relieved to finally discover this. I was beginning to worry that I would go the rest of this playthrough not knowing what to do here. I've also found the orders book on floor 60 of the mines. Potions, powders, and I assume a lot of other things will be needed here. I quickly send a few items in my powder box to the goods inventory in order to complete one of the orders. I receive almost 5,000 gold for doing so. Also, here are the jobs I have to do: get a monster to level 3, and teleport along the path of a projectile. I've been stuck on these ones for a while, so I'm going to try to wrap them up very soon. Now, ordinarily when spring is over, I would have to get rid of all the spring crops, simply because they won't grow in summer. That isn't quite the case here. I use my power to turn them all into summer crops. I speak with the cat and they tell me about a potion called Faith. I can use this to upgrade my machines, or do something to them, I'm not sure. The cat is being incredibly vague here. They give me the Eye of the Warble. I can use this relic to teleport to the entrance of a map. They also want me to go and talk to Buffin, so I do. I find them behind the waterfall up in this place, north of Georgiamart. Buffin teaches me how to make Faith and tells me to go use it on my machines. I can use a couple of different items to make it. Solar and Void Essence would definitely be the easiest way to do so, I think. I use my power on the lightning rod and it creates a battery pack. Instantly. I use it on the scarecrows and furnaces and nothing happens. I put coal into the furnaces to get them working. Then I use the power again and nothing. No immediate result anyway. I also got the teleport along the path of a projectile job done. I didn't show footage of it because I basically kept pressing the power button and zooming around the farm. I got a bit dizzy while I was doing that, so I don't want to take the risk of showing that footage and maybe making somebody else dizzy. I realized that I've ran out of faith, which explains why I've only enchanted 5 machines. That must be the lightning rod and 4 furnaces. I make more faith and 3 more lightning rods. I use my power on the lightning rods and the furnaces to complete the lesson. I now officially know how to use faith. It seems to me like it finishes certain processes immediately, and it just speeds up other ones. The cat tells me to speak with Buffin on day 31, so I do. I must prepare for a battle with the spawn of the void. Creatures of darkness are lurking somewhere nearby, and Buffin wants me to defeat them. I take a look at my journal to get a better idea of what I'm being told to do, because like many things in this mod, I have no idea. That isn't really the mod's fault though, I get confused really easily as a human being. That's just who I am. I have to use my power inside here after 5 PM to begin the battle. Okay, I can do that. In the meantime, I'm gonna do some fishing. I catch a tuna, another octopus, and some other fish before moving over to the Skull Caverns. I want to get my serpent up to level 3 for that lesson, so I'd rather spend my free time doing that instead of fishing right now. Unfortunately, I put too much faith in my serpent to defend me. The end result of the choice to put my faith in my serpent was me being knocked out. It's 5 PM, so it's time to battle the shadow enemy. I'm gonna be honest, this was not a difficult fight. Though that might be because I had a slime, a bat, a serpent, and every single character I've met battling alongside me. Taking inspiration from one of the greatest animes, if not the greatest anime show of all time, Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, I harnessed the magical power of friendship. The shadow enemies were not prepared for this and were defeated within moments. Eventually only the shadow leader remains, and he doesn't quite last too long either. They do something I was not expecting. They announce that they have been beaten and should discuss a treaty with us. The other shadow enemies denounce him as their leader. They leave him alone in the cave with us. The shadow leader introduces himself as Shadowtin. He is a scholar first and foremost, but takes accountability for what the shadow people did to the valley in the past. I ask him why they came to the valley. He tells me that this valley contains remnants of the battle that took place here many moons ago involving dragons. A mage called Doja wants to find these remnants and use them to harness the power of the dragon. The cat believes that Shadowtin has been tracking their family, friends, co-workers, I'm not quite sure who, but they've been tracking somebody anyway. Specifically, they believe that Shadowtin can help them find Thanatoshi. I ask Shadowtin to join our group. He is shocked, but happily accepts the invitation. He makes a very interesting and concerning comment, however. I also expect I will have to face my former employer, Doja, at some point. Until then, my allegiance is yours. Yeah, what do you mean until then my allegiance is yours? What do you mean until then? What does that mean, huh? It seems to me like you're telling me that you're going to help us all the way up until we find Doja, at which point you'll betray us and join them again. You better not do that, Shadowtin. I will not hesitate to put you on my list of enemies. Or rather, make a list of enemies and then, write your name on it. You'd be the only person on that list is what I'm saying here. I begin day 32 by sending my serpent to roam the farm. I don't know if it will level up while it's on the farm, but I'm curious as to, what happens with this. I harvest starfruit on day 4 of summer. Keep that in mind. That gets more and more wild the more I think about it. It's only day 4 of summer and I'm already harvesting starfruit. It grew in 3 days. I think, it had to have been a combination of my power and the effigy using their power. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I do a bit of fishing at the beach. I'm going to try to catch all of the summer fish I can before the end of day 56, aka the final day of summer. I use the Eye of the Warble and it takes me to the entrance to Buffin's home. Interesting, alright, I see how this works now. I ask Robin to add a silo to the farm and then I talk to the Revenant. They have a lot to say about the book that Shadowtin gave me. The book was being protected by followers of the Reaper. These people basically went after everybody. It's one of the reasons why the lady beyond the shore left the valley. Eventually the followers went after the Circle, and the Reaper attacked the Revenant, which is how they ended up the way they are. The book mentions the Tomb of Tyrannus. The Revenant gives me the key that is needed to open the entrance to this tomb. They also give me a stern warning, telling me all about how dangerous this will be. I ignore the warning and use the key in the Skull Caverns to open up the secret entrance. I enter the tomb and a battle begins. A battle with Thanatoshi. I immediately summon the cat. I feel like they need to be here for this. The cat refers to Thanatoshi as the Reaper. At this point, I'm not sure whether Thanatoshi is actually the Reaper or if the Reaper disguised itself as Thanatoshi. What I do know is I can now turn myself into a dragon. I also get an item called the Measurer's Box. I'm told that Buffin might know more about this. The cat is ready to go home, with Buffin, not back to the farm. They have a lot on their mind, so I tell them to go back to the farm and just take it easy for a while. I show the box to Muffin. They tell me it's a trinket that brings comfort to those who must leave their home. They are given to people who go out on adventures by their family members and loved ones. This box right here was given to Thanatoshi by Masayoshi. The 4 big statues here all have one of these boxes each. I already have one of them. The second one requires me to have one of each omen and trophy in my satchel. I have to hit the 3rd statue with an iridium tool to get the 3rd box, and I need to have a deluxe coop or a deluxe barn on the farm to get the 4th and final box. That doesn't seem too difficult. I just have to remember to upgrade a tool and the coop and the barn. Or, well, the coop or the barn. I mean, it can be a coop or barn, but I want to fully upgrade both of them anyway. I spend the day messing around with the dragon power. I noticed I was getting 25 friendship points with a villager when I went near them as a dragon, so this could really help with maxing out friendships, assuming I do it every day, which wouldn't take much time at all really. Shadowtin tells me about the dragon power on day 33. Apparently the power that causes me to turn into a dragon is called Ether. It can be used in many different ways. My challenge today is to use the power to do a fire breath attack. It looks like today is going to be a Skull Caverns day. I've got my monsters with me to level them up while I'm here. And as for the dragon power, by itself, it is amazing. It tears through everything in the caverns. I can also use the meteor shower power at the same time, so getting from floor to floor inside here is an absolute cakewalk. The fire breath ability doesn't just work on monsters, no, it also destroys rocks, and I'm assuming trees too. So along with defeating monsters, I can also use it to get wood and increase my foraging level. Lovely stuff altogether. My serpent is level 2 and halfway to level 3 by 7:30 PM. I don't think it matters too much if my serpent defeats an enemy. The big thing, it seems like, is just having it in the caverns with me. Good to know. Shadowtin tells me to go swimming on day 34. I fly around the farm for a while, getting used to the whole flying thing. Then I dive into the water. I can search for valuable items inside here. I'm getting Georgia Cola, admittedly not a very valuable item. Fish, okay, we're back. A decent amount of trash, okay, never mind. But still, it's cool all the same. And the items I find while doing this are added to the fishing collection, so that automatically makes it worth doing in my mind. I can change the color of my dragon, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. There we go, that looks good to me. I have Robin upgrade the barn and I spend the rest of the day inside the Skull Caverns. I harvest starfruit on day 35 along with tomatoes. Shadowtin has discovered a bunker in the forest and wants to explore it with me. We can absolutely do that, but first I want to harvest the rest of the starfruit. I sell almost all of them and buy seeds for all of the summer crops. I want to make sure I have enough of everything I'll need for the cooking recipes in the future. I have all the spring crops I need, so I want to get the summer ones out of the way early. I use the remainder of my money to get starfruit. The wheeled power has been used on the starfruit, so they should be ready to harvest in about 5 days, or potentially even sooner if the effigy uses his power on them. I meet Shadowtin in the forest. A dwarf shows up and gives them something. Shadowtin tries to thank them, like genuinely, legitimately say thank you to the dwarf, but the dwarf doesn't really care. We use the power cell that the dwarf gave us to enter the bunker. As we're walking in, Shadowtin simply says, "Brilliant." I don't know why, but I found that funny. I think Shadowtin might be my favorite character just because of this moment right here. Shadowtin believes that the big machine inside here is providing a magical current to a network of some kind. The machine speaks. It says its name is Snazimodius. Lovely. Shadowtin reads a manuscript and is turned into a cat. What is going on? The wizard then enters the room, and accuses us of trespassing. He demands to know how I could possibly justify being in here. Apparently he has claimed ownership of this place. I really do not like your attitude right now. I nearly picked the second option, which is basically telling the wizard that this place belongs to the circle, not the wizard. I chose to apologize to the wizard instead. The wizard says he will turn Shadowtin back into his original form if I can defeat the wizard in battle. Right, before we get down to business, there's one thing I want to say. I'm dedicating this following battle to the witch. This one is for you. I know the wizard did you dirty, alright? At some point, he did you dirty. He says as much during the game, so this one is for you. I defeat the wizard with no issues. And truth be told, I would be lying if I said I didn't take some form of pleasure in doing so. The wizard really rubbed me the wrong way during that previous conversation. As we leave the bunker, Shadowtin says that he's well aware that he's going to have to endure many more hardships on his journey to expose Lord Deep. I have no idea who that is, but I will help you in any way I can. Outside the bunker, I use the dragon power to dig up the remains of a pumpkin monster. Shadowtin's old crew show up, and they aren't alone. They've brought the dwarf with them. They want the research that Shadowtin was doing on the remnants and the artifacts and the relics that can be found in the valley. Shadowtin hands it over when they say they'll let the dwarf go free if he gives them what they want. Unfortunately, I pass out. Yeah. And so on day 36, I harvest all of the crops that have grown before returning to the forest. I do everything all over again, and eventually get to the point where Shadowtin hands the research over. His old crew insults him before leaving. The dwarf thanks Shadowtin and gives him something. Apparently the sergeant wanted him to have it. Shadowtin's reputation as a captain is now officially ruined, he says anyway. He doesn't seem to be too bothered by this though. I like what I'm seeing here. He truly is becoming a whole different person. It's nice to see. I sell a few croppy whoppies and ask Robin to upgrade the barn. I put tappers on many different trees. I use my powers on them to hopefully speed up the process of making oak resin, maple syrup, and pine tar. I head to floor 20 of the mines where I check out the distillery. I can add different items to the boxes here, and they will be used to make goods. These goods can then be sold. There's probably more to it than just that, what I said there, but I guess I'll find out more information later on. The cat has a job for me on day 37. They have tracked down Shadowtin's old crew. They're using a map, the crew is using a map to hunt down ancient treasure. I tell Shadowtin about this and he teaches me how to make the best potions possible. Nice, I will take that, I've been waiting for this. He also wants me to find 5 dragon treasures. I can dig them up while I'm using the dragon power. I find a spot in the forest, I dig it up and I receive a sea foam pudding. And I get the letters to the lady artifact. I find a second spot in the ocean. It's being protected by a monster. I defeat it in a sort of mini-game that reminds me a lot of Pokemon. I get a pearl and my serpent is now level 3. It took a while, but I finally completed that quest. I do the mini-game again in the home of the lady beyond the shore. I get artifact troves and another artifact that I can show to the Revenant. I participate in yet another battle up in the mountains. I get a ticket and the 4th artifact. I find the 5th artifact and gold bars over in the desert. I show all of the artifacts I found today to somebody. I'm sorry, I didn't write their name down in the script. I'm gonna take a wild guess and say it's the Revenant. He tells me they're basically useless. All that remains are recipes and gardening tips. I believe I can take them to the community center and complete the pantry room using them. I head over there and yep, Room number 5 has been taken care of. I really do like this alternate way of completing the community center. It's a bit like having a third option added to the game. You've got the community center route, the Joja route, and the magic route. Which, well, yeah, it kind of has the same result as the community center route, but without the hassle of finding all these different items and holding onto them for the center. It's a lovely bonus reward for progressing through the storyline in this mod. I go digging in the river. Not only does this add different fish to the fishing collection, it also gives me fishing experience. I move down to the beach where a monster spawns almost every time I dive into the ocean. I don't mind. I'm leveling up my serpent and my fishing skill at the same time, so it's a win-win. The effigy has a quest for me on day 38. Deep in the woodlands near an old temple is a gate that was created by the Mother of the Crows. The first farmer and the old druids did not trust somebody or something called the Fae. Oh wait, it's a place. Not something or someone, it's a place, alright. They believed this area should be abandoned and never mentioned again. The old temple was built by the Crow Mother, and a special ceremony took place inside there. It was referred to as the Rite of Undoing, or alternatively, the Rite of Bones. I have to put the remains of the pumpkin monster near the old temple, and then ask the Crow Mother to perform the Rite of Undoing. I harvest a few beautiful flowers before heading up to the old temple. A giant dust sprite appears and attacks me. I'm not upset about this, however. All of the monsters are dropping food, and tea saplings for some reason, so I'm having the time of my life here. The battle ends and somebody named the Lost Dryad shows up. I talk to her and she is flabbergasted that I can see her. She introduces herself as Blackfeather, the first gardener. She was the caretaker of this area. She's going to try to remember more about herself and what she did and what power she has before we speak again. I have Robin upgrade the coop, and that is it for today. The Dryad has a request for me on day 39. She wants to see the garden where a nursery used to be. She gives me a glove which I can use to summon her. I also have another glove on me. It can be used to reveal the entrance to a place called the Forsaken Orchard. I have no idea where to go for this. Like, I am genuinely lost here. I send my pickaxe to Clinton, upgrade that for me please. The area on floor 20 of the mines has been fully restored. It took a while, like a few weeks at least, but it's done. I have been given a stamp. The memory of the elders in the old graves may be interested in this. The old graves. That rings a bell. I've been there, I know I have. I'm going to try to remember where this is exactly, and I'll go there soon and see what the stamp I've been given does. And when I say soon, what I actually mean is right now. I talk to the Keeper of Elder Memories. I let them know that I've cleaned up the area on floor 20 of the mines. I then ask what other locations need my help. This area right here and a nursery need to be cleaned. Oh, that's convenient. The Dryad mentioned the nursery this morning, I think, so I can work on that one as soon as I find it. And I can begin cleaning this place right here, right now. I take a break from magic for the remainder of the day and I attend the luau. I throw an ice pip into the soup, which gets the best reaction from the governor. This, of course, gives me a bunch of friendship points with the villagers. I activate the glove in the forest and I think I found a nursery. I'm not going to start the Dryad's quest as I don't have enough time, but what I have done is cleaned the area for the first time. I reckon if I do this 3, maybe 4 more times, then this area right here will be fully cleaned up. And the same goes for the old graves. I harvest starfruit and dig up an iridium bar on day 40. I'm also getting stuff added to my satchel, so that helps with getting all of the omens and the trophies for that one statue in the place where Buffin is. I clean the old graves, dig up a treasure chest and buy a rare seed. Then it's off to the nursery. I clean it up too before summoning the Dryad. A vision of the nursery in the past appears. It's on fire. Wait, hold on. It's on fire, but these look like Junimo huts. Are Junimos involved in this whole thing too? Traitors of the Druids started, there's so many S's. I need to take a break right now to let you all know there are so many S's in everything I'm saying. I am suffering so much right now. Okay, enough complaining, let's get back to it. The fire was started by traitors of the Druids, but the lady beyond the shore, I think that's who it is, put the fire out and saved the nursery. Ooh, okay. The Dryad has just mentioned the little apple spirits. That has to be Junimos. She and the Junimos were captured by the traitors. We enter the bunker where, I don't know, two people are talking. I don't know who they are. If there is one change I would make to this mod, it would be to put the names of the characters on the screen when they're talking. I'm really doing my best to figure out who each character is, but it can be tough keeping track of everybody. Anyway, sorry, let's get back on track. In the past, the stream claimed Blackfeather, that's the Dryad, and would not let her go until an agreed upon time. They decide to create an invincible golem to help them gain power. The Dryad wants to visit the lady beyond the shore, or rather just wants to go to the place where she lives. We go there where another memory of the past plays out in front of us. The first farmer has destroyed the Avalanche. The Reaper very obviously wants to get rid of the farmer. The farmer then does something I really wasn't expecting to happen. They attack somebody else who was here. Masayoshi, I recognize that name. They gave the box to Thanatoshi. The Reaper avenges Masayoshi. Wait, I think this might mean Thanatoshi is the Reaper. That might explain. Okay, that explains a bit. Okay. Assuming I'm correct in what I'm saying, that is. The Dryad says I am now strong enough for the Crow Mother's right. But something isn't right. No, something is very wrong here. The Dryad is using the same words that the effigy uses. And the person who taught the effigy these words was the lady beyond the shore. It turns out I'm not talking to the Dryad right now. I haven't been talking to the Dryad at any point. I've been talking to the lady beyond the shore. The lady convinced the stream to release her so she could use the Dryad as a vessel. She wanted to take control of the Dryad's body so she could return to the valley. And it worked. The Dryad hasn't been harmed, but she won't be freed until the lady beyond the shore isn't in control anymore. Crows fly in and I thought they were going to attack me, but they go after the lady instead. I guess they know what she did to the Dryad. When the lady has been defeated, the Dryad is finally back in her own body. It turns out, the effigy may have been wrong this entire time. They and I believed the same thing. We believed that the lady left the circle in order to go take care of her people. Now bear in mind what I'm about to say hasn't been confirmed, but based on what happened here today, it can be assumed that it wasn't that simple. Maybe the lady had much more sinister reasons for leaving. The Dryad confirms what I'm thinking. The lady beyond the shore was betrayed long ago, so she turned to chaos and only cared about herself. The Dryad gives me a new weapon and thanks me for everything I've done for her today. I've also been given a new lesson. I can use the weapon she gave me to summon birds. I have to use these birds to attack 20 enemies. I buy 2 of each fruit tree sapling and almost 300 starfruit. I enter the mines where I spend a bit of time working on the lesson that the Dryad gave me. Then I return to the farm where I plant my tea saplings and the fruit tree saplings I bought. The gold pickaxe has been obtained on day 41. When I have enough money, I'll upgrade it to iridium quality. I speak with the Dryad to get another job. I can summon the birds and have them retrieve items for me. The easiest way to do this is to have them pick up wood, stone and fiber. This was a fairly handy job, a bit time consuming, but that's it really. I sell a ton of starfruit, earning over 400,000 gold. I gallivant around the valley completing the job that the Dryad gave me and dig up treasure. I buy a few stacks of wood and ask Robin to upgrade the coop on the farm. Then I buy over 900 starfruit and clean up the old graves and the nursery. The nursery has been fully cleaned, which leaves only the old graves to deal with. I spend the night planting starfruit. I sell a few bits and bobs on day 42 before sending my pickaxe to Clinton. Yet another job has been given to me. I can have the birds greet villagers and potentially even steal an item that a villager likes. Of course, I can then give that item back to the villager for even more friendship points. By using the Lookup Anything mod, I can find out how many points I get for having the birds greet villagers. 25. Not bad. I clean up the old graves for the final time. I receive a coin for doing so. I talk to the Keeper of Memories and tell them that I've cleaned up all 3 locations. Unlike previous artifacts and relics, I can't do anything with this set. If I had to guess, I would say I've already completed the room that I could have used these artifacts to complete. In the community center, I mean. Oak resin has been collected on day 43. I'll make time to grab the rest of this stuff and the pine tar and maple syrup later on. For now, I speak with Buffin as the Dryad told me they can teach me another way of using the birds. Buffin tells me to use the birds to find their ancestors' remains. I can find them somewhere in the mountain. The journal, as always, is a lifesaver. It tells me to go to floor 100 of the mines. I interact with the statue that wanted me to have a deluxe coop or barn on the farm. It gives me the second box of memories. Now all I have to do is upgrade a tool to iridium quality, which I've basically done. I'm just waiting for Clinton to send the pickaxe back to me. I also have one of every type of omen and trophy in my satchel. I forgot to click on the statue. I take a walk around the forest, mainly to relax and take it easy for a while. I've done a lot during the last 43 days, so I think I've earned a bit of a break. I fly around town, which gives me bonus friendship points with every villager who sees me. I've been wondering why my friendship has been rising so quickly with everybody. I keep forgetting that a lot of these powers help a ton with friendships. I enter the room on floor 100 of the mines where I meet Buffin, Agent of Chaos. They wish they could have seen the battle I had with the beast that lived in this cave. I tell them about the dragon that I found inside here, and how it made references to the Circle and the Druids and certain events that happened in the past. Buffin is not impressed. They expected something more exciting. Wow, okay, thanks Buffin. They hope that if their ancestor Carnivalian did perish inside here, it was more exciting than what I went through. Wow, okay Buffin, relax. I didn't do any— what did I do to you? Buffin will be very disappointed if it turns out Carnivalian was eaten by a dragon. Dang, alright Buffin, calm down. You're good. It's okay. The birds find the Fox Stone. Buffin says it has the scent of Carnivalian, but it isn't one of his bones. It's something far worse. From what I'm being told here, I'm beginning to think it's Carnivalian's soul. Or a fragment of it, maybe? Whatever it is, Buffin wants to destroy it. A convention of all 4 chapters of the Fates is required to perform the Ritual of Undoing. Buffin will represent the Great Stream. The cat will stand in for the priestess, and Argyle, that's one of the birds, will represent the Ancient Artisans. That leaves the Morticians. Buffin has an idea of who can fill that role, but does not seem too keen on meeting with them. And so our motley crew gathers together for the rite of undoing. We banish the monsters that we have defeated over the course of the last 43 days. The pumpkin, the dinosaur, the dragon, and the dust sprite. A fox, I assume this is Carnivalian, appears when the monsters have been dealt with. They inform Buffin that— I thought that said wyvern, but it isn't, it's spelled different. They inform Buffin that Wyvern, that might be it. Yes! They inform Buffin that Wyvern, the knight, torched the valley after turning into a dragon. Carnivalian confronted Wyvern and they both perished. They give the final prophecy, ooh how mysterious, to Buffin before leaving. They also mention that the successor of the Wild draws near. I talk to Buffin afterwards. They are very much disappointed in the way Carnivalian was defeated. Okay, sorry. The Dryad has bargained with the Great Stream for the Golden Bones. It seems like this was done in preparation for a final rite type of thing. I don't think we'll be seeing the outcome of this anytime soon. It feels like a end of storyline type of thing. Buffin leaves and a wild bear shows up. Using a combination of strawberries and the ability to turn into a dragon, I defeat the bear, revealing its true form. Linus? What? Alright, his full title is Linus, Successor of the Wild. I guess he has joined the circle. Okay, this was a complete curveball. I wasn't expecting Linus to be part of this whole thing, but I'm happy about it all the same. We now need a successor of the elements to join our group. There are two, one of them being the wizard. At least that's who I think Linus is referring to. Linus believes that the wizard won't join the group, however. He disagrees with the circle's, he disagrees with the entire circle thing in general, so yeah, I don't know if he's going to be showing up anytime soon. Unfortunately, that leaves us with one choice. We need to convince the second successor of the elements to help us. We need to convince Shadowtin's former client, Doja. The effigy has no faith whatsoever that Doja will help us. Shadowtin shares the same opinion, but is going to try to make it work. Buffin is leaving. Oh wait, never mind. Buffin is staying. Back on the farm, I plop 2 kegs down and throw coffee beans into them. Clinton has sent me the Iridium pickaxe on day 44. I should be able to get all of the boxes from these statues in Buffin's house. The most important thing now is that I don't, forget to go there, which I probably will. Shadowtin has arranged a meeting with Doja. It will be my responsibility to decide how we'll get Doja to help us. Yeah, I don't see this going very well. I have very little faith that Doja is going to be on board with the whole plan. I make potions and head to Buffin's home. I grab the remaining boxes from the statues and inform Buffin that I now have all 4 of them. Buffin tells me that the boxes are full of goodwill and happy memories. In a nutshell, I'm told to bring them to the community center and repair the bulletin board bundles with them. I fly over there and I do exactly that. The community center has been fully completed, and the only rooms I did myself were the boiler room and the vault room. I believe those are the only 2 I did anyway. This is really cool. I mentioned it before, but I love having a new way to complete the community center. It makes the game feel so fresh. It also means I'll be able to unlock Ginger Island before summer comes to an end. I spend most of the day flying around and digging up treasure. I donate many items to the museum before cracking open many geodes and artifact troves. Even more items are donated to the museum before I meet with Shadowtin. The cat is here too. The sergeant joins us. They tell us that Doja isn't coming to this meeting. Instead, they're attacking the hidden chapel. That is not good. That place is very important. We need that place. The sergeant pleads for us to help them. They have ran out of supplies and they don't want to do this anymore. But Doja just won't give up. Doja really has made an enemy out of everybody, haven't they? We make a beeline for the chapel. That's the place on floor 60 of the mines, by the way. Oh, this is Doja. Huh, okay, I thought they were one of the shadow monsters that wears a mask. Doja found the Deep One, who provided them with insight and shadow minions. Doja's goal is to control the power of the dragons. I almost defeat Doja, but they teleport away before I can finish them off. So it's been confirmed that not only is Doja the successor of the elements, they've also gone rogue and want to become the most powerful being in the valley. The Revenant informs me that should Doja be defeated, then a new successor will be chosen by the stream. I'm sorry, I need to share this. I just imagined like a Twitch chat voting to choose a new successor. A bird flies into the room and announces that we're all in big trouble. There have been many testimonies given against the circle. It looks like another battle is about to take place when the cat steps up to the plate. They basically say, no, it doesn't work. Yeah, the bird isn't quite convinced by that riveting testimony. But then bats appear and they defend us. The Revenant tells me that everything the bird accused the circle of doing isn't a lie. They were telling the truth. The circle hated the Fates, the First Envoys, the Crow Mother or the Dryad, the Brothers of Justice and the Old Hound of Chaos. Wow, they hated everybody. It would have been easier if the Revenant just listed the people the circle don't hate. The circle went to attack all of the people I mentioned and it went very wrong. They lost the first farmer and the Wyvern. Then the Revenant led Thanatoshi to a tomb and trapped them inside there. Oh, that must be why I found Thanatoshi in the Skull Caverns, okay. The Revenant then tells me to sort of accept everything they've just told me and move on from it because I need to stop Doja. Okay, well, alright, I'm convinced. We head over to the tomb where we find Doja. Kinda. Something has taken control of Doja's body. The battle begins and it goes on for a couple of minutes. It was probably the lengthiest one in a while. Doja has been defeated, I think, maybe? And Thanatoshi is back? And they're also the Reaper now, or like, I think they've always been the Reaper? Thanatoshi and the Revenant make peace with each other. Remember, the Revenant trapped Thanatoshi inside this tomb in the past? The Revenant accompanies Thanatoshi to a place where they can write their name in the Book of Morticians. Assuming nothing goes wrong, I think we have everybody we need to perform the Rite of Undoing, now that Thanatoshi is on our side. I receive a book for my hard work. Right, that's it for today, I've done enough, let's move on. Day 45 begins with a visit from Gunther. He thanks me for everything I've donated to the museum and gives me the key to the sewer. I've also gained a bunch of friendship points with everybody for completing the bulletin board bundles in the community center. I put fruits and vegetables into kegs and preserve jars. I'm doing this for the shipping collection. I also have honey which I can turn into mead. Basically what I'm trying to say here is that if I have to make something for the shipping collection or get something for it, then I'm going to get it. The villagers are celebrating the brand new community center. Lovely stuff. I've said lovely stuff too many times, I apologize, but I'm gonna say it a lot more because I can't stop using that word. I sell starfruit and use the money to buy even more starfruit seeds. The effigy tells me that everybody is ready to perform the Rite of Undoing, or the Rite of Bones as the Dryad calls it, or the Rite of the Golden Bones as the journal refers to it as. Let's do this. The wizard is here. I guess he is willing to help us after all. We're trying to open the doors to the temple just north of here. The Dryad does not know what lies within. The Mother of the Crows told her it is an imbalance, an agitation of celestial, spiritual, and material planes. But it also drained the magic from the valley, so the Mother of the Crows had to bargain with chaos to select a time when that would be undone and balance would be restored. The Rite of the Golden Bones is the final step in that deal that was made between the two of them. The Dryad examined the Golden Bones and discovered that a piece is missing. The effigy says don't worry about it. The final piece is in their possession. The effigy is going to sacrifice themselves, aren't they? They just are. It's I hope I'm wrong, but that confirms to me that they're going to sacrifice themselves. They asked me to walk to a separate area with them. The effigy thanks the stones for the conversations they had with them. Yeah, the effigy is 100% going to sacrifice themselves. We join the others once again and the Rite of the Golden Bones begins. The effigy jumps up onto the thing that holds the other bones. They announce to everybody that they are the missing piece, and they're okay with it. They have accepted their fate. A creature appears in place of the effigy. We attack it with all our might. Suddenly, the dust settles. The battle comes to an end, and the effigy is gone. The Dryad says he brought the great stream to us and delivered the golden bones. Also, I am the successor of the first farmer, which the effigy told me on day 1, so that wasn't too big of a surprise. What is a surprise, however, is the effigy is back, I think? Aldebaran of the Celestial Realm is here. I freed them from a timeless prison that was governed by chaos. He explains how he was betrayed by somebody he loved. And, ooh, yeah, okay, he was, indeed, the effigy. The effigy was a cool character, so I'm glad they're not completely gone. In fact, it's the opposite, really. Their true form has been revealed. Also, Aldebaran looks like Drew McIntyre. The green rain has arrived to the valley on day 46. I need all the moss and fiber I can get my hands on. I hope summer's finished soon. I'm losing my voice. I'm scared. Aldebaran is ready to open the gate on day 47. The gate used to be beautiful. It had this warm feeling that would draw you to it. But at some point, the leaves and the roses disappeared. They were replaced with omens of magic and ruin. Only the two kings or somebody who has been given their power has authority over the gate. Suddenly, it swings open. It is time for a glimpse into the past. The Crow Mother, who it turns out is the Artisan of Fate, that is a cool title, is talking to the lady beyond the shore, it looks like. The prince has bargained with chaos. That can't have been good. The Crow Mother has brought peace to the valley in return for the heart of a star. That could be good. The lady wants to get revenge on the prince. That doesn't sound good. Before the vision fades, we find out that the lady beyond the shore can seal the gate. Aldebaran is not happy to learn that his own sister gave him the chaos. I think that means the Crow Mother is Aldebaran's sister? I was beginning to get massively confused at this point, I won't lie. Luckily, nothing else happened after this. I receive an item that I can use to recruit villagers. Cool. Right, so the prince made a deal with chaos. I imagine it was for magical abilities, power, that sort of thing. The Crow Mother, who is Aldebaran's sister, then gave Aldebaran to Chaos in order to prevent the prince from taking over the entire valley. At the same time, Thanatoshi and Masayoshi wanted to go after Aldebaran for something he did, but they couldn't because the Crow Mother had already given him away. I think we're good. I think that's what happened. My goodness. We explore the area beyond the gate. I guess it's open now. I'm not going to question it. We end up battling 3 witches. They recognize Aldebaran. They call him terrible and say they're going to claim his bones one more time. A warrior appears near the end who summons more warriors to help us. These are the former guards of Aldebaran. That was a lot to take in, so I'm going to take it very easy for the remainder of the day. I sell starfruit, buy 2 auto-grabbers and add 4 of each animal to the coops and barns. Oh wait, no I don't. I got halfway through when Marnie decided to walk away. Excuse me, that was tremendously rude. How dare you? I enter the back of William's shop where I drop off 5 battery packs, 5 iridium bars and 200 hardwood. The boat will be repaired tonight. Day 48 begins with the planting of even more starfruit seeds. I bought a load of them yesterday and got quite a few planted, so it didn't take too long to plant the rest. The entire farm is covered in starfruit. Aldebaran has given me a quest. I will talk more about that later. For now, I finish off buying 4 of every animal. I use the Neptune power to recruit Linus before asking Robin to add a pond to the farm. I recruit Robin, Jody, and Caroline. I tried to recruit Demetrius and some other villagers, but I can't. I don't have enough space for them, so I can only recruit 4 people? Okay. Right now I have Linus, Robin, Caroline, and Jody. The quest I was given this morning is simple, but it will take some time to complete. I have to get at least 1 villager up to level 3. I assume I have to do this in the same way I did for the monsters I caught, where I have them follow me around and they level up that way. Again, that won't be difficult, but it will be time consuming. The journal states that the wizard, Linus, Clinton, Caroline, Gunther, Marlin, Krobus, and the dwarf are all familiar with the magical aspect of the valley. In that case, I'm going to keep Linus and Caroline, but I will replace Jody and Robin with 2 other people. I introduce myself to Krobus and I buy a void egg and a star drop. I also grab 2 crafting recipes before finding the replacement for Robin. It is none other than the man, the myth, the used car salesman, Clinton. I don't really know why, but Clinton seems to me like the type of person who would be selling used cars if he didn't end up in Pelican Town. Jody has been replaced by the dwarf. I buy, a couple of salads in the saloon before checking out my journal. I'm happy with these 4 recruits. I have them accompany me to the river in town where I spend the remainder of the day diving underwater. I toss a void egg into a mayonnaise machine to begin day 49. Aldebaran has the ability to speed up the growth of crops even more, so hundreds of starfruit are ready to harvest right now.
I'm gonna let him work away and use his magic on the remaining starfruit before I harvest all of them. Shadowtin has given me a quest. I have to complete orders for the different guilds. The goal is to get my relationship with one guild up to level 3, which I will do at some point, but not today. I'm spending the entire day in the water. The villagers I recruited get a bunch of XP just from being with me for the entire day, and I was able to hit level 10 in fishing because of all the time I spent in the water. It may not have been very exciting, or exciting at all, but it was worth it. I spend the morning of day 50 chopping down trees. I take a break to make a ton of potions. I should be good on energy for the next, I don't know, 2 weeks. Over on Ginger Island, I begin collecting all of the walnuts that are available to me. I can even enter the dig site without unlocking it first with golden walnuts. I have enough walnuts to unlock the west side of the island. I clear out the entire farm before spending the night using my pickaxe on the ground here. I did this to make sure artifact spots can pop up here again tomorrow and, well, at any point really. Day 51 begins over on Ginger Island. Now, I didn't have enough walnuts to buy the farmhouse, so I simply used a warp totem to get back to the farm and fall asleep there. The good news is I was able to get the Ginger Island warp totem by using the Neptune's power here yesterday, so I could teleport to the island immediately after waking up. I spend the day in the volcano dungeon. I got a bunch of walnuts while I was here thanks to the dragon and the meteor shower power. I also got pineapple, taro roots and dragon teeth. I make it to floor 10 where I grab 2 walnuts and a prismatic shard. Back at the entrance, I fly over to the left where I find 2 more walnuts. Oh, I should mention, I didn't need my watering can because I was able to just fly over the lava and avoid it completely. I use my walnuts to unlock the farmhouse and the mailbox. Now I can send items to the villagers even if I spend the entire day here. So the whole friendship thing is basically taken care of. I return to Pelican Town with enough time to buy a void egg and toss a sturgeon into a pond. Day 52 and day 53 are spent harvesting starfruit, buying starfruit seeds and planting them. Even more fruit of the star are ready for harvest on day 54, and the entire farm is once again covered in seeds. I have around 2,000 seeds left over as I bought over 4,000 starfruit seeds. I can't plant the remaining starfruit however, as they won't be ready before summer comes to an end. I think I messed up actually. Unless Aldebaran uses his power on the starfruit during the next couple of days, they also won't be ready in time. Hopefully they will be. It could go either way. A bunch of animal products are in the auto grabber. I grab one of everything I need for the shipping collection. I think I've subconsciously been trying to get the shipping collection done before the end of winter. In fact, I've been trying to get as much as possible done before then. I won't be able to get perfection before year 2 begins, however. A villager named Kent won't arrive until the first day of spring in year 2, so it literally isn't possible to get perfection before then. Unless you get perfection waivers, which I don't want to do for anything outside of the golden clock. I upgrade my pan and take a look at the orders on floor 60 of the mines. I have to make different boxes of items. You can see them here in the goods menu. And I can then use the orders book to send a box away to a guild that wants that particular item. I make 2 crate packers on floor 20 in the distillery. This item increases the amount of weapons and supplies produced by 3 units for each one I make. Here are the different orders. One guild wants powder, another wants potions, then you've got weapons, monster trophies, whiskey, brandy and omens. I buy a bunch of different equipment from Marlin and toss them into the weapons box in the distillery. I guess I have to let them work away and be processed into weapons that can then be sent to a guild. It wasn't a very eventful day, but I did make an extra 75,000 gold. I buy all of the crafting recipes Robin is selling on day 55. Then I ask her to upgrade the house before buying over 100 each of the different cooking ingredients. I turned the oil I bought into the second best potion. Then I turned that one into the best potion. I can then send this potion into my goods menu thingy and use them to complete orders. I make powder and send that away too.
The villagers I recruited are now level 3, so the only job I have left is to get a guild up to level 3. I collect fruit from the cave and toss it into the relevant box in the distillery. I think I've covered everything when it comes to the distillery. I should be able to make every type of good that a guild could want. I meet the wizard up in the mountains to begin his quest. I've done this one countless times in the many playthroughs I've done, so I'll quickly run through this part. I go to the sewer and tell Krobus that I want to go inside the mutant bug lair. He opens up the entrance, so I catch the mutant carp before going inside. I catch a slimejack, fly to the end of this area and grab the dark talisman. I head back up north where everything goes wrong. I enter the swamp where I catch a void salmon. Now all I have to do is get a void mayonnaise from the water here and then give it to the goblin so I can enter the witch's house. But I'm not getting a void mayonnaise. It just isn't showing up. I was hoping this wouldn't happen, but I do have a backup plan for this. I go to Krobus, buy a void egg from him and toss it into the mayonnaise machine. I have received the pan on day 56. I send it right back to have it upgraded once again. I've got a guild up to level 2 and they're halfway to level 3, or almost halfway. I should be able to get it done within the next week or so. I return to the swamp, give the void mayo to the goblin and enter the home of the witch. I grab the wizard's ink and bring it back to the wizard. In case anybody doesn't know, the witch and the wizard were married. The wizard made what he called a mistake that drove her away. This is what I was referring to during the battle with the wizard. It's why I dedicated that to the witch. I don't know exactly what the wizard did, but it wasn't good. Now that I've completed that quest, I can buy different things from the shop here in the wizard's tower. I want to buy the 4 towers, if you know what I mean, before the end of winter. I do a bit of fishing at the river and the forest and buy more sugar. I can use it to make a powder for the whole orders thing. And that is the end of summer. That was a very intense 28 days, wasn't it? A lot happened, and I feel like I've made quite a bit of progress when it comes to the Druid storyline, and with the game in general. I'm in a really good place when it comes to, well, everything really. I haven't missed any fish, or cooking ingredients, or anything for the shipping collection. I've been working on the whole friendship thing as well, but I would definitely like to work harder on that during fall. So, let's go. Day 57 begins in the exact same way that day 29 did. I use magic to turn the old summer crops into fall crops. I'm going to try to get at least 10 of every crop before covering the entire farm in cranberries. I complete a few orders and I head into town. Robin has given me a quest to find 25 pieces of stone. And another quest to find 30 pieces of stone. And she gave me that second one twice. Nice, I love when that happens. I buy at least 25 of each fall crop along with 3 full stacks of cranberries. I complete Robin's quest and I receive the easiest prize ticket of my entire life. I spend the remainder of the day planting my croppy whoppies. I make triple shot espressos on day 58, collect my gold pan and send it right back to Clinton one final time. I harvest a sweet gem berry, complete 2 more orders and gallivant into town. The special orders board has been built. I really wish there was an option to have this built from the very beginning of the game. I don't really have a good reason, I'm just kind of impatient as a human being. Demetrius wants me to catch 20 fish, lovely. I will get a crafting recipe as a reward for doing this one, so not a bad quest to start off with in terms of special orders. I'm happy with this. I spend the entire day fishing. Truth be told, I wasn't focusing on Demetrius's order. I just wanted to get all of the fish you can catch during fall, or at least as many of them as possible right now. I catch the angler fish on day 59. I kinda sorta maybe forgot to get this one yesterday, but I got it now, so we're good. I buy the crafting recipe for the fish smoker, a few hundred bait, and crab pots. I make a powder that has a very beneficial effect. If I throw a bomb at a villager, I'll get anywhere between 30 to 60 friendship points with them. I set my crab pots up at the river and at the beach. I still have to get things like periwinkle, shrimp, lobster, you know, that kind of stuff for the fishing collection. I buy cherry bombs from the dwarf and toss one at Robin. Sure enough, I get 30 friendship points with her. Right, well, I think friendships just became a lot easier. If I talk to a villager and throw a cherry bomb at them, that's 50 friendship points right off the bat. I spend the entire day going around town, tossing cherry bombs at and talking to the villagers. The Iridium Pan has been obtained on day 60. I use a warp totem to get to Ginger Island, where I eat a lucky lunch, dig up artifact spots on the farm, and break rocks at the dig site. I destroy a boulder in front of a cave in order to free Professor Snail before spending most of the day panning here. I really wanted to get my hands on the fossilized tail. I did not get it though, so that's kinda sad. What I did get is some tasty foraging experience, so I'm happy either way this worked out in the end. I plant trees in the quarry and sprinkle tree fertilizer on them. I'm going to chop down every single one of these trees when they grow so I can get even more foraging experience. Speaking of trees, days 61 and 62 were spent taking down every single last one of them. I really want to get level 10 in foraging so I can unlock the whole mastery thing. I have reached level 3 with a guild on day 63 and wait, we're done. What? How are we done? Wait, okay, let me explain. I got the crumbly Stardew Druid cookie as a reward. And when I look at it in the journal, it says that this cookie is the reward for doing everything in the mod. It also says there's going to be a future update that continues the storyline and, adds even more things to the game. But for now, that's it. We're done. I'm not entirely sure what to do here. I didn't see this coming. I could end the playthrough right now as, I guess I technically completed the Druid mod, but it wouldn't really feel right for some reason. I'm going to keep going and see how long it takes to get perfection overall. I feel like that's a good compromise right here. If anything, it'll be a way of finding out what type of effect the mod has on vanilla Stardew Valley. Maybe we can see if it's quicker to get perfection with the mod installed. I would assume so, with how many powers I have and how easy they make certain things. As for the actual mod itself, I had so much fun playing through it. I really do wish there was more, but at least I have something to look forward to in the future with the, future updates. Also, as for the remainder of fall, I'll do my best to talk about as many individual days as possible, but if I skip a day or a couple of days, what that means is all I did was harvest cranberries and work on my friendships on that day, or however many days it is that I skip. I buy the Woodcutter's Weekly book on day 68 for some tasty foraging experience. I chop down all of the trees in the quarry on day 69, reaching level 10 in foraging as I do. I plop a melon, a wheat and a garlic into a seed maker on day 70 as I need the seeds for these crops for something on Ginger Island you'll find out very soon. I also have around 3,500 cranberries planted on the farm, so we should make hundreds of thousands, if not maybe 1 million gold. I grab the seeds and sell dried starfruit for over 600,000 gold. Demetrius wants me to catch more fish. Nope, not gonna happen. I already got the crafting recipe for the computer, so I'm good. Please stop giving me this quest. I don't want to do it. I make a scarecrow and I place it near the melon, wheat and garlic. I can show them to the frog in the cave when they're ready to get a whopping 15 golden walnuts. I get the mummified frog over in the jungle and introduce myself to Leo. I want to reach mastery level 1, so I spend the entire day in the Skull Caverns. I broke every single rock and I defeated every single monster on every single level, which resulted in me reaching level 1 in mastery before the night came to an end. I toss a dinosaur egg into the mayonnaise machine on day 71 before entering the mastery room. I choose farming mastery for the iridium scythe. That's literally the only reason why I chose this one. Considering how many cranberries are on the farm, I need this item, like it's an actual necessity at this point. It will make harvesting all of the cranberries so much faster. Linus wants me to collect trash from the water in town and throw all of it into a dumpster. I will get the crafting recipe for fiber seeds as a reward for this one, so it shall be done. I use my power to break the mussel nodes on the beach and I spend the day fishing. I start off at the farm, then I move to the docks and I end the day at the dig site. I donate everything I have to the field office on day 72. Admittedly, I did forget to bring the second leg with me, but that's okay. I can get it and bring it here at any point. I need a snake vertebrae and the fossilized skull and tail, so 3 artifacts aside from the leg I forgot. I attend the Stardew Valley Fair where I place some wonderful items into my Grange display. I come in first place and I win 1,000 tokens. I spin the wheel to win a further 1,000 tokens and one more time to get 1,000 more tokens. I use my tokens to buy a rare crow and a star drop. I make 29 dehydrators on day 73. I'm gonna toss all of the cranberries into these. I would like to make dried cranberries. They sell for a bit more than regular cranberries. I've got almost 2,000 starfruit seeds left over from summer, so it's off to Ginger Island where I plant as many of them as I can. Here's the result of that on day 74. I finally put all of the battery packs I've been collecting to good use by making iridium sprinklers. I find a bird in the north of the island and it drops an emerald. I spend the remainder of the day panning. I wanted to get the tail and I did. Lovely. I bring it over to Professor Snail along with a vertebrae and the second leg. I receive a mango tree sapling. Nice, I need mangoes. I get a walnut from a muscle node on day 75 and I believe that is the last one I can get from those rocks. Lovely stuff. I plant the mango tree sapling in the greenhouse, donate an artifact to the museum and plant a rice shoot. I spend the remainder of the day in the volcano dungeon. I showed 3 crops to the frog on day 76. 15 more walnuts have been obtained. I unlock the tower I can use to get back to Pelican Town and I complete the Simon Says game for 3 more walnuts. I spend my last 20 walnuts on the island resort. I collect all 3 golden walnuts that can be found in this little area right here, and I crack open geodes, golden coconuts, and artifact troves. I get the fossilized skull from a coconut, donate a ton of items to the museum, and crack open around 100 Omni geodes. I donate everything I can to the museum. I've taken care of every single mineral, and all I have left is 5 more artifacts. Here is a quick look at everything I got from the geodes and artifact troves, and the skull has been donated. I collect the walnuts and the banana tree sapling, and I answer 2 questions for another 2 walnuts. Everything inside here has been completed, so the crafting recipe for the ostrich incubator has been received. I get the nautilus shell at the dig site, which is one of the 5 artifacts I still have to get. I plant the banana tree sapling, grab an island warp totem and dig up 2 more walnuts. I play 3 games of darts to get 3 more walnuts. I have said walnuts so many times today. I've got 102 of them in total, which means I can finally enter Mr. Key's room. I take the sturgeon out of the pond on day 77 and replace it with a largemouth bass. I needed 3 sturgeon roe for different purposes. One was to make caviar, which I can toss into the shipping bin. Another was to make caviar again for the final bundle in Joja Mart. And the third one was to just throw the roe into the shipping bin, as that regular roe is required for the shipping collection. All that remains now is to get the largemouth bass roe and use a preserves jar to convert that into aged roe. I throw 20 pieces of trash into a dumpster to complete Linus's order, and I harvest cranberries. I harvest tea leaves and rice on day 78. One of the leaves will be tossed into a keg to make green tea, while another will be placed into the shipping bin. Demetrius wants me to catch fish again. Dude, please stop. You've given me this order already. I've already done it. I don't want to do any more fishing for you. Please stop. Robin gives me the crafting recipe for the flute block and the drum block. Thank you. I buy thousands of wood and 1,000 stone along with fridges and the workbench. These will play a vital role when it comes to the crafting and cooking recipes. I ask Robin to upgrade the house and I accept an order from Mr. Key. He wants 100 each of different colored items. I spend the rest of the day inside the Skull Caverinos. I've hit level 3 in Mastery thanks to all of the cranberries I've harvested and the couple of Skull Cavern runs I did. So I decide to unlock Foraging and Mining Mastery on day 79. I spend the day harvesting even more cranberries. I plant Mystic Tree saplings in the quarry on day 80. I plant taro roots and pineapples and I complete Mr. Key's order. Like I said, nice and handy. I buy bombs from the dwarf. I ran out of bombs, which I very much need if I want to keep working on my friendship, so this was a very necessary purchase. Mega bombs are amazing for this, by the way. I get a guaranteed 60 friendship points with them. So I make 39 of them on day 81. Let's do some math for a moment. I get 15 points for being near a villager while I'm a dragon. I then get another 25 points for using the wield power near a villager. I then use a mega bomb for another 60 points. Some villagers, not all of them, but some of the villagers give me an extra 20 points for using the fate power near them. I think that's the name of the one that sort of lifts them up in the air. Yeah, not everybody is affected by it, but some are, so that's good. So between the Mega Bomb, the Dragon, and the Wield Power, I get a guaranteed 100 friendship points. Plus, I can get another 80 points twice a week by giving them an item they love. So if you combine everything together, I can get a minimum of 860 points with any villager every single week. If I do that for 3 weeks, then that would take everybody from 0 hearts of friendship all the way up to the maximum of 10 or 8, depending on who they are. Having said that, everybody is already at 2 hearts, or at least 2 hearts. Some of them are at 4, 5, even 6 hearts of friendship. What I'm trying to say here is that we're good. Friendship will not be a problem. It will be very easy to max out everybody's friendship. Day 82 is spent harvesting cranberries and working on friendships. Day 83 is spent working on friendships again, as always, and attending the Spirits Eve festival. I buy the jack-o'-lantern crafting recipe and a rare crow. I also won't be mentioning the friendship thing anymore. I've explained my entire plan for it, so you can just assume I'm working on friendships every day from this point forward. And so we arrived to day 84. I harvest starfruit, receiving 5 golden walnuts as I do, and yeah, that's about it for fall. There's not much else I can do right now. This season was a lot shorter than spring or summer, but that's because I'm finished with the Druid mod. Like, it's done. There's nothing else I can do with it. I've done all the quests, I've learned all the powers, I've basically explored pretty much everything in that mod so far. So all that really remains is to just work towards perfection. With that being said, let's not waste any time. Let's jump right into winter. Here is a look at the perfection tracker as I begin day 85. I'm not doing too bad. I've got 48% completion, which is okay. I guess that's okay. I think it's alright anyway. Like I said, I have quite a bit left to do, but they're all very basic things. Defeat monsters, work on friendships, unlock cooking and crafting recipes, you know, that kind of stuff. It won't be difficult, but it will be time consuming. Mr. Key wants me to reach floor 100 in the Skull Caverns without eating or drinking anything. This could be tough, but then again, if I can still use potions and have that thing where... how do I describe it? I automatically consume food if I go to use a power but my energy is too low. If I can still do both of those things, then I'm good. This will be an absolute walk in the park. I talked to Birdie to begin her quest. Now I can't actually do it until spring of year 2. You see, she gives me an item and I have to trade that item for something else. And that continues until I get the Pirate's Locket. The first person I have to give an item to is Kent, who currently is not in Pelican Town. He only arrives at the beginning of year 2. However, there is a very real possibility that if I did not accept this quest right now, I would forget all about it when year 2 begins. I would rather not have that happen, so just to be safe, I talked to Birdie today to get started on this without actually getting started, if that makes sense. I harvest tower roots and turn all of the fall crops into powder melon. After bumping into the shadow person, I accept a lovely order from Caroline. She wants me to find and ship 100 pieces of ginger. I'm glad I got this one. There's 2 other possibilities for this order. The first one would be to ship 100 pineapples, and the second would be to ship 100 taro tubers, I think is the second one. The one I got today, the ginger one, is, in my opinion, the easiest of the 3 to do. I spend the remainder of the day in the Skull Caverinos, and I can indeed confirm that I can use potions, so this was very easy to do. In fact, it was so easy that I would have been disappointed in myself if I hadn't completed Mr. Key's order. But I did complete it, so, you know, that's nice. I get back to working on my friendships on day 86. There is no way that I won't max out everybody's friendship by the end of winter. I've used the word easy a lot to describe something, and I'm going to have to use that word again here. It is so easy to get a ton of friendship points every single day with everybody. So thank you to the Druid mod for making that possible for me. I really do appreciate it. Sometimes I get tired of working on friendships, so this is nice. I collect ginger both on the farm and over by the dig site. I spend the day in the mines working on the monster eradication goals. I place a tapper on a mystic tree to begin day 87. I buy more mega bombs, work on friendships, and collect pieces of ginger. I unlock the island trader. I need to get 2 crafting recipes from here, so good thing I got that out of the way. I feel like I might have forgotten this one in the future. I find the shadow guy and I receive the magnifying glass. I can now find and read secret notes. I spend the night fishing. I donate a few artifacts to the museum on day 88 before unlocking the final 2 mastery rewards. Lovely jubbly. I spend the day in the mines working on the monster goals. This could get repetitive very quickly. In fact, it's definitely going to get repetitive, and for that I apologize. You're going to be hearing a lot of, I went to the mines today to work on my monster goals. During the next few days, I apologize. I harvest starfruit on day 89, and I spend the day in the Skull Caverinos. Day 90 is also spent inside here, and I of course worked on my friendships too. I know, shocking. I buy a rare crow on day 91, and then I went to the caverns after working on my friendships. Riveting stuff right here, I know. This is so exciting, isn't it? This is like the best gameplay anybody who has ever uploaded a Stardew Valley video has ever produced. I hope it gets more interesting. I'm sorry for what you're dealing with right now. I place a tapper on another tree on day 92, then I check the special orders board. The wizard has 2 orders for me and I have to do both of them. They both give me a reward. Uh-oh. I choose the prismatic jelly one, and hopefully the other one will pop up again next week or the week after. The mines have been reset, and Mr. Key wants me to get the floor 120 in there all over again. This one shouldn't be too bad. I feel like I can get this one done in 2 days maximum, I reckon. It shouldn't be difficult. I make it down to floor 106 before finally passing out. I reach floor 120 on day 93, completing Mr. Key's order. I am blazing through his orders right now. I have around 111 key gems, I believe, so I should be able to afford every crafting recipe inside here before winter ends. I give the prismatic jelly to the wizard. I was a bit worried that the prismatic slime wouldn't show up while Mr. Key's order was active, but it did, so yay. I spend the day in the volcano dungeon, working on monster eradication goals, I make a monster musk on day 94. This will help a ton with the monster goals, I spend the rest of the day working on the monster eradication goal. Yeah, okay, let's just move on. Mystic syrup has been produced on day 95. Give me more of that stuff, please. I use it to make a treasure totem before heading over to the desert. If I'm lucky, I'll get the golden mask artifact, which might be the last item I need for the museum. I'm 97.6845378% sure that that is the case. Unfortunately, however, I was not lucky and left the desert empty-handed. Ooh, okay, yeah, it is the last artifact I need. There is another artifact I have to donate along with it. I have it, and I've decided to hold on to it. Basically, I'm keeping this artifact in my inventory in the hopes that it will kind of, inspire the golden mask to pop up and join it inside my inventory. Unsurprisingly, I spend the remainder of the day inside the volcano dungeon. Along with working on the monster eradication, I'm also getting cinder shards and dragon teeth, which I need for crafting recipes, so I would call that a bit of a win-win. I am happy to announce that as of 3:30 PM today, I have completed the final monster eradication goal. It feels good to say that properly. I've kind of been stumbling through it the last few times just because I feel bad saying it as many times as I have. But we're done, so you probably won't have to hear me say monster eradication goal from this point forward. I do nothing on days 96 and 97 besides working on my friendships. But on day 98, I go to the jungle on Ginger Island. Another bird dropped the aquamarine in the south, so I know where that one and the emerald go. I guess where the remaining 2 gems go on my very first attempt. I complete the mermaid puzzle to get another 5 walnuts. I think now I only need to get 9 more walnuts. I have to complete Birdie's quest, bring a banana into the jungle, and use a slingshot to knock a walnut out of a tree outside the volcano dungeon. A rare seed is not being sold at the traveling cart. Sadly, this confirms that I won't be getting all 7 star drops before the end of winter. Robin wants me to collect 1,000 pieces of wood on day 99. This might be an issue. There are very few trees remaining after my whole deforestation expedition I did. I wonder if I buy the wood, will that count towards her order? I hope so. I collect the final few pieces of ginger and toss them into the bin of shipping. Caroline's order has been completed. Mr. Key wants me to get to the bottom of the mines again. It's an easy way to get 25 key gems, so I'm not really annoyed about this or anything. I trade walnuts for key gems and I buy 250 pieces of wood. Okay, nice, yes, it does count towards Robin's order. Okay, well in that case, I buy all of the wood I need and we're done. Nice, that was a very easy way to do her order. Once again, I spend the day in the mines working on Mr. Key's order. I make 30 staircases on day 100. Remember when everybody used to end their 100 days of Stardew Valley videos right here? Shout out to the Habu. I remember in his video he played through 112 days, and he talked about how it makes no sense whatsoever to stop on day 100 when you can just do an extra 12 days to finish off the entire first year. I don't think it's a coincidence that at least a handful of people, myself included, started doing 112 days after that video came out. It's both funny in hindsight and it made a ton of sense. Like, I remember listening to Habu and thinking, yeah, no, that's fair enough, that makes a lot of sense, you're making a fairly good point here. Anywho, after talking to Caroline so I can get the crafting recipe for the tea sapling tomorrow, I asked Robin to... I forgot to bring hardwood. Whoops, one moment please, there we go. Now I ask her to upgrade my house. I place a battery pack into the box at the tunnel, then I put a rainbow shell into a box up in the north, and I put beets into the fridge in Lewis's house. After putting a solar essence into the skeleton here, I grab the casino membership card from the pile of lumber beside my house. I return to the desert, enter Sandy's shop, go inside the casino and play Calico Jack. I win once, then twice, then thrice, then 4 times. I use my winnings to get a rare crow and farm warp totems. I buy the crafting recipe for the big stone chest. The only reason I can do this, or rather buy this crafting recipe, is because I completed Robin's order to get the 1000 pieces of wood. I catch the glacier fish. This wasn't difficult, but that's because I used a trap bobber and a cork bobber. Those 2 bobbers used together at the same time makes fishing so much easier. I attend the winter night market where I enter the submarine. I catch the midnight squid, the spookfish and the blobfish. The crafting recipe for the tea sapling has been received on day 101. I went back to focusing exclusively on friendships today, and I also did the same thing on day 102. The banana tree has finally begun producing bananas on day 103. I place a tapper on a mystic tree and I grab mystic syrup before making a treasure totem and buying a rare seed. I use a totem over in the desert and I do not get the golden mask. This might become an issue. I really do hope I don't have to spend weeks and weeks trying to get this artifact. I use my gems to get magic bait along with as many crafting recipes as I can. There is but one final recipe remaining inside this room, the blue grass starter. I plant my rare seed and I use the wheeled power on it. I grab a seafoam pudding from a chest and I use it to boost my fishing level. The legend has been caught. I spend a couple of minutes trying to catch the glacier fish before realizing that I already got it. Let's move on, shall we? I catch the crimson fish on day 104 and that right there was the final fish I had to catch. I should receive a star drop from William tomorrow morning. I summon Aldebaran over on Ginger Island. I was hoping he would use his power on the sweet gem berry to make it grow really quickly. He didn't, so that was heartbreaking, I must say. William has sent me the star drop I mentioned on day 105, thank you. I buy a rare crow from the dwarf and I give the Void Ghost pendant to Krobus. If I can get Krobus up to 12.5 hearts of friendship, I will receive another star drop. I collect all of the tickets I was owed for doing special orders, donate the second last artifact and grab a few rewards. The main 2 being 2 rare crows. I now have every rare crow in the game, which means I should be sent the crafting recipe for the deluxe scarecrow in the mail tomorrow morning. I cash in all of my tickets for a grand total of 2 star drop teas. I do not get the golden mask on day 106. What I do, What I do, however... I can't... Oh, I've lost it. What I do, however, is I trade a banana for 3 walnuts over in the jungle. Clinton and William have orders for me on day 107. Again, I wish I could do both of them. I need to do both of these orders. I decide to do Clinton's special order, mainly because I feel like William is less likely to hold a grudge for me not picking his order. That's it. That's the entire reason I picked Clinton's. That's it. That's all that I took into account here. Mr. Key has an order for me. The mines have been reset again. Dude, come on, give me something else. Give me a wait, no, actually, no. Do not give me something else. This is the easiest order by far. Please ignore everything I just said. I'm happy to continue doing this one. I grab gold quality cranberries, which I can use for energy, and I spend the day inside the mines. Day 108 begins with Krobus. I turn into a dragon, use the wield power, talk to him, use a friendship bomb, and give him 2 Stardrop Teas and a gold star pumpkin. That was a mistake. I just realized I should have kept one of those teas for Kent in year 2. I messed up. I should be able to get another tea before then, but that would have been very handy. I ask Robin to add a cellar to the house. Then I spend the remainder of the day inside the mines. Day 109 begins where the previous day ended, in the mines. I spend all of today and day 110 collecting all of the bug meat William wanted. And of course I made time for, working on friendships. I receive a star drop from Krobus on day 111, and finally we arrive to day 112. I use a totem in the desert and I shockingly get the golden mask. Nice. I bring it to Gunther, finishing off the entire museum collection. Star drop number 6 has been obtained. I use my slingshot to get a walnut, which means I only have 5 more left to get. And I can get all 5 of them by doing Birdie's quest during year 2. I buy the crafting recipe for bluegrass starter and I sell dried cranberries and dried starfruit. I earn 3 million gold, which means I can afford all 4 obelisks. I buy a gold star mango wine and the tropical curry cooking recipe, and I buy the desert, water and earth obelisks. It turns out I don't have the 10 bananas that are needed for the island obelisk. Oops. In much better news, I complete the final bundle that can be found in the abandoned Georgia Mart. I only have 1 more friendship left to max out, and that is Kent's. So the theater that will be built here overnight will help a lot with maxing out his friendship. I buy key seasoning, trade walnuts for key gems, and get the key to the town. Kent loves roasted hazelnuts, so I take the key seasoning I bought and use it to make 6 gold star dishes. That just about wraps up winter, which means the first year has come to an end. Here is a look at the perfection tracker. 77%. Lovely. There isn't a lot left to do, so I'm going to be skipping quite a few days in the second year, I imagine. I've also made a little thingy, I don't know how, like a graph, I guess, to show what I need to do to achieve perfection. Let's begin with the bad news. I forgot about Leo a couple of times, like a lot of times, I'm going to be honest. So he's currently only at 7 hearts. I fully believed I maxed out his friendship, so this was a bit of a surprise, and not a good one at that. Thankfully, the only other person is Kent, so that's good. I have to get 1 more star drop, which I've talked about a couple of times. All I have to do for that is trade a sweet gem berry for it over in the secret woods. I have to unlock 2 more cooking recipes and I get both of them from Kent, so that's all good. I need 4 crafting recipes. 1 of them comes from Birdie. The other 3 recipes I received for doing a special order for William, the Wizard and Gunther. I have to get 5 walnuts, they all come from Birdie, so we're good. And I have to buy the island obelisk and the gold clock. When it comes to Kent's friendship, the 2 cooking recipes, Birdie's quest, the 3 special orders, the 5 walnuts and the gold clock. They're okay, I'm okay with having to do all of those things. Mainly because I either literally couldn't do them during the first 112 days, or in the case of the gold clock, I knew ahead of time I wasn't going to get it before the end of the first year. However, in regards to Leo, the final star drop and the island obelisk, I would be lying if I said I wasn't disappointed in myself. It basically comes down to one simple thing. I forgot to do certain things. I forgot to check the traveling cart many times during spring and summer for a rare seed. I forgot to work on Leo's friendship, and I forgot to get a banana tree sapling as quickly as I could when I initially got to Ginger Island. Basically, I could have and really should have been able to get all of those things done, but I didn't because I forgot about them. So yeah, I'm a little disappointed in myself, but at the same time, it is what it is. I accept an order from Mr. Key on day 113. The Skull Cavern has been invaded by powerful monsters, and I have to reach floor 100. Kent is here, good to see ya. The theater has been built, so I buy 4 movie tickets. I talk to Kent, use a friendship bomb, and give him roasted hazelnuts and a movie ticket, along with the item Birdie gave me. Gunther has given me an order, beautiful, he has a crafting recipe I want. I give an item to Gustavo, then a different item to Sandy, then George, then the Wizard, and then finally William. He gives me the Pirate's Locket. Before I give it to Birdie, I do not give a duck feather to Leo. I literally can't.
I do, however, get around 100 friendship points with him by doing, the usual stuff. Then I use my mailbox to send the duck feather to Leo. It's raining, which means Birdie is inside her house, so I can't give her the locket today. I buy popcorn for Kent and I watch a movie with him. He enjoys the movie, which is good. After everything I did today, I already have 1.5 hearts of friendship with him. I break all of the bone nodes over at the dig site to get, bones. Then I get even more bones from the skeletons in the mines. I realized about halfway through that I can get the burglar ring from the guild, because I've done the dust sprite monster. Oh, I'm sorry, I need to say it. Because I've done the monster eradication goal for dust sprites. So I grab the ring before heading back to the mines. After getting all 100 bones, I deliver them to Gunther. Order complete. I do something I will be doing every day for the next couple of weeks. I work on Kent's friendship. I harvest the sweet gem berry, work on my friendship with Leo, and trade the sweet gem berry for the final star drop. I've decided to toss everything into the shipping bin on day 115. I connected a chest to the bin, so every single item that can be sold will go inside here, thanks to the automate mod. I did make sure to keep the items I need for Kent, Leo, and the crafting and cooking recipes, along with a few things for energy, but everything else is being sold. I would be happy if I end up getting around, we'll say 2 million gold. I feel like that's a good estimate. I've collected a lot, and I mean a lot of items. I earned 2.1 million gold. Okay, yeah, my estimate was correct. I will be honest though, this hurt me. Like this really, emotionally, mentally, and psychologically, it hurt me to get rid of everything. But, I mean, it had to be done. The question is, how do I get the remaining 8 million or so gold for the gold clock and the island obelisk? That question will be answered very soon. Or maybe not. I don't know. You'll just have to wait and find out, I guess. Day 116 has arrived. To answer the question from last night, I won't be getting 8 million gold, I'll be getting 2.7 million. I'm gonna get the island obelisk and then buy 10 perfection waivers for 5 million gold. That covers the 10% towards perfection that the gold clock would have given. Look, I love a good deal, I love a bargain, so if I can save 5 million gold, then I absolutely will. After getting the last 5 walnuts and the crafting recipe for fairy dust from Birdie, I pay 10,000 gold to change my mining profession. When I go to bed tonight, I'm gonna choose the perk that makes bars be 50% more valuable. My plan is to get as much iridium ore as I can and then sell all of the iridium bars that I make using that ore. And so, equipped with the power of the dragon and the meteor shower, along with, just a few salads, 300 of them, I spend the remainder of the day in the Skull Caverns. I reach floor 100 completing Mr. Key's order, and I also found him on this floor. I drink the iridium snake milk he gives me, and my health has been permanently increased. That doesn't really help me a lot though, because I simply refuse to be knocked out. Also, Kent's birthday was today, so that got me up to around 7 hearts of friendship with him. I take all of the items I got in the caverns and I toss them into a chest to begin day 117. I'm using the heavy furnace to make 5 bars at a time. Efficiency and all that. I collect 3 bananas, say hello to Kent, and spend the day in the caverns. Once again, I toss everything into a chest on day 118. Kent has sent me the 2 cooking recipes I need, so I make both of them. We are getting closer and closer to perfection every single day. The rest of today goes as you might imagine. I say hi to Kent and I spend my remaining time in the caverns. Day 119, hello Kent, and hello Skull Caverns. I make more heavy furnaces on day 120. I've also decided to only make iridium bars, and maybe iron bars too for heavy furnaces, but mainly iridium. I don't want to waste any coal on copper and gold bars. Yeah, they might sell for a bit of gold, but nowhere near as much as iridium bars. I get the last 3 bananas I need and I buy the island obelisk before greeting Kent and checking out the orders board. I need an order from the wizard and William. Neither one of them have an order for me. I buy popcorn for Kent and I watch a movie with him. I now only need 110 more points to max out his friendship. Off to the caverns I go. Day 121, hello Kent, hello Crops, and hello Skull Caverns. I have finally reached maximum friendship with Kent on day 122. All of the friendships are now done and dusted. Carrots, caverns. I tossed pretty much all of the items I got from the caverns into the bin on day 123, the shipping bin. I want to be clear, I threw them all into the shipping bin, not the trash can. That would have been a terrible mistake. I then harvest all of the crops that have grown and I toss them into the shipping bin too. I make 1.7 million gold. Beautiful. I harvest Crappy Whoppies and toss them and more iridium bars into the shipping bin on day 124. Caverns. I also spent day 125 in here, but you probably already knew that would happen. I harvest more crops on day 126. This might be the most repetitive ending to a playthrough I've ever done. And honestly, I'm okay with that. The most important thing is that I'm still having fun, and I very much am still having fun, so I'm good with this. I earn 122,000 gold. Demetrius has a special order for me on day 127. Please, no more. I don't want to go fishing again. Please give somebody else a chance. I earn almost 500,000 gold from crops and iridium bars. And with that said, I think I'm done with the caverns. I only have to get around 100,000 more gold for the perfection waivers, which I should be able to get from crops. So yeah, no more skull caverns. I go to bed immediately on day 128, and 129, and 130. All I have to do, all I'm waiting for, is to just get 2 orders from both William and the Wizard, so I'm gonna go ahead and skip to day 134. Here we are, and I do not get either order. I spend the day harvesting Crappy Whoppies and sell them for over 170,000 gold. Nice, I officially have the 5 million gold I need. Let's just jump right ahead to the first day of summer, shall we? It is day 141 and Demetrius is back, again for like the 5th time I think? Day 148 is not much better. Finally, on day 155 the Wizard has given me an order. He wants me to defeat a ghost and bring him the ectoplasm it drops. I get the ectoplasm and I head to his tower. One of the 2 orders has been completed. This playthrough is now entirely in the hands of William. Demetrius is back on day 162. This is what is going on? Literally the very first order I did back in fall was Demetrius's one. Why are you doing this to me? Please stop. Admittedly, it is pretty funny now at this point. Oh my goodness, I don't believe it. He's back again on day 169. Okay, this is I don't even know at this point. It's day 176 and he's here again. Thankfully, the other order is from William, so that's good. That's very good. I was about to lose my mind. I consume a monster musk and I get all 100 bug meat he wants. I bring it to him, which means I can unlock the final crafting recipe tomorrow. Off I go to the beach on day 177. I talk to William and he gives me the crafting recipe for the quality bobber. I make that item along with the mini obelisk. I take a look at the perfection tracker to make sure I've done everything except get the gold clock, and after confirming that is indeed the case, I head over to the cave I freed Professor Snail from. A gentleman by the name of Fizz is inside here. I buy 10 perfection waivers from him for 5 million gold. You know, I'm thinking about it and I just realized that all that time I spent waiting for William's order, I really could have gone to the Skull Caverns to get more iridium bars and just get the remaining 5 million gold that way. But I mean, this works too. And it was a bit easier, it required a bit less effort, so I'm happy with this outcome. When I leave my farmhouse on day 178, the game notifies me that a rumbling sound was heard in the distance. I head up to the summit where Lewis, Ew, is waiting for me, and that is the end of my journey through the magical world of the Stardew Valley Druid mod. Here is a picture of the farm. I'm very proud of it. I worked so hard. I think it might just be my masterpiece. Right, let's talk about a few things. First of all, I absolutely adored the Druid mod. I had a blast playing through it, learning all of the lore, using different powers, meeting all the characters, and exploring new areas. I genuinely can't wait for the next update to come out so we can see what happens. As of right now, I'm gonna give the mod a 10 out of 10. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Are the powers overpowered? Yes, they are. However, and take this with a grain of salt because I prefer to have a more laid-back experience when playing Stardew Valley. It's why I tend to use mods like Automate and Mail Services that make certain things less time-consuming and kind of overall just make the game less of a grind. So you might see this differently, but for me, I wouldn't change the powers. To be more specific, I wouldn't nerf them. They're overpowered, but it works. You get around 50 missions from the different characters like the effigy. I can't imagine the number of missions will go above 112 at any point, or even 100. So unless you get stuck on a mission, you're more than likely going to finish the entire mod before the first year is over. So I don't think, how do I put this? For me personally, I like being able to kind of breeze through the remainder of the vanilla game and achieve perfection after finishing off the Druid mod. And the powers being the way they are make it possible to get that done before the end of the second year. Bear in mind, that's just my opinion, that's the opinion of one single person. So you're more than welcome to give your own thoughts on this down in the comments. In fact, please do. I would love to read what everybody thinks about the powers and how they affect the gameplay. So overall, you do become extremely powerful because of the mod. But I think it's justified given all of the things you do while playing through the mod. You earn the overpoweredness. Is that a word, overpoweredness? I mean, I guess it is now. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say, really. I guess all that remains for me to do is to bid you all adieu. So, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Have a good one.